What's going on, guys? Welcome to Zach Milne Talks Live. It looks a little bit different. I'm a little bit closer to the camera. I've got a guest in today I'm very excited about. But first, before we get to our guest, welcome everybody who's watching live, watching the replay. If you're listening over at the Zach Milne Talks Movies podcast, the description has the links to that down below. Guys, it is a big show today, isn't it? I mean, yesterday, the world stopped. The news that we've all been waiting for hit. We finally got the confirmation, guys. Bad Boys 4. It's happening. Will Smith, Martin Lawrence, they're coming. No, of course, I'm kidding. It's DC. The DC universe is expanding. James Gunn finally gave us his timeline, his slate for all the crazy stuff that we can expect. We are going to go through all of that. We're going to take your live comments and questions for that, guys. And something I'm doing a little bit different moving forward, guys, is I've been getting some super chats in the chat as of late, and I really appreciate that. And I just want to be able to give back to people who do that. So if you super chat a question in, I will personally shout out your name and your channel in a community post, as well as a video next week. You'll get your own personal shout out. But regardless of super chats, we're going to take all your comments and questions tonight. And guys, as I mentioned, I'm not alone. I've got a very special guest in here today. Please help me welcome to break down all of this DC goodness, Luke Ponto.
Yeah.
That was a nice turn and finger guns, man.
I should have told you I was going to prepare for that.
No, I liked being surprised, man.
Yeah.
How you doing tonight?
Doing great, man. Thank you for as soon as I saw this, I was like, count me in, bro. I'm all down. Because I mean, I don't talk much DC, so I'm like, you know what? If I want to talk some DC, I got to talk with this dude.
Yeah, man. And I'm gonna be honest, dude. I've never talked to this much DC in my life before. I'm a big Marvel guy.
Or if you want to talk more DC, talk to my best friend because he is a DC nerd.
Yeah,
like, he really is. Like, ask him anything DC, he will tell you a lot about it. Like,
well, it's an honor to have you on tonight, man, because you are going to be my Swamp Thing officiant. I don't know anything about Swamp Thing, so you're here to bring all the knowledge. And I'm sorry, we have to stop real quick because I promised this guy I'd do this on Twitter. That's just Joe is in the chat saying I made it. He is 3:30 a.m. where he is. Thank you. That's just Joe for being here, dude. Guys, that's
congratulations, man.
He has a channel of his own. He's an up-and-coming YouTuber like the rest of us are. Definitely check him out. Some great stuff. He did a live stream talking about the DC slate yesterday when it dropped. So definitely go give his video some love. That's just Joe. I so appreciate you being here tonight, man. But please, please, please go to sleep. Get some rest, man. And take care, dude. All right. That's awesome. I actually can't believe he showed up in the chat. That's great.
Yeah, because I saw that comment on Twitter because obviously, since you mentioned me in your tweet, I obviously get that as well.
Right.
So I checked it and I was like, bro, you need to be getting some sleep, man.
Yeah, he not retweeted me, but he responded to my tweet and said it's gonna be 3:30 a.m. where I am, and I said if you actually show up in the chat, I'm giving you a special shout out. So he earned that special shout out.
But don't worry, man, because I've had people that have come into the chat on my channel from Germany. So
from Germany, wow! I mean, it's really cool how many different places come into one place. It's so cool.
Yeah.
All right, man. Should we get started with the show? Sorry, I cut you off.
Let's do it, my man. Yeah.
All right, guys.
We're just talking.
All right, guys. Before we get into the big DC slate breakdown and all the DC goodness, we are going to jump into our newest segment here on the show called "What I Miss," because obviously the show is only once a week, so I can't cover everything that I want to. So this is just going to be a quick rundown of some things that happened during the week when we weren't airing. First things up is Shazam dropped a new trailer. What I'll say about this trailer is I liked it. It was definitely bigger in action. There was some cool action sequences in it. I feel like it did show a lot, but it does look like they're going bigger than the first Shazam movie. Will that necessarily mean better? We'll have to wait and see. But as far as the trailer went, I dug it. Up next, Last of Us has already been renewed for season 2 in the news of no duh. I believe the second episode got a 22% increase from the first episode. Of course, they renewed it for season 2. That's not a surprise at all.
No.
Tobey Maguire. Tobey Maguire has shown interest in wanting to return to Spider-Man, saying, quote, I love these films, talking about Tom and Andrew's films, and I love all the different series. These guys called me and say, if these guys called me and said, would you show up tonight to hang out and goof around? Or would you show up to do this movie or read a scene or do a Spider-Man thing? It would be a yes, because why wouldn't I want to do that? He said. Now, this quote comes from a new Spider-Man No Way Home movie official book that's coming out. And if you read the full context before this quote, they're specifically talking about Andrew and Tom and what it was like to put on the Spider-Man suits and hang out with them. So it's not very clear. I think that he's talking about Sony execs are talking about jumping back into movies. I think he's mostly just talking about wanting to hang out with Andrew and Tom again, but it's still really cool to see his enthusiasm. Coming off of last week's news of the Michael Jackson biopic, it looks like we've got a casting, and Jafar Jackson is going to play Michael Jackson. This is Michael Jackson's real-life nephew. You know that you're someone special when you have to get someone who actually embodies your blood and genes to play you in a movie. So that's pretty cool, and I kind of like that it's being kept in the family.
Like we actually have.
Sorry, what were you gonna say, Luke?
We've actually had that happen before, where O'Shea Jackson Jr. is the son of Ice Cube. He played as his father.
That's
in
right.
Compton.
I forgot about that. You're right about that.
I just had to point that out, just because because it's Michael Jackson's actual nephew, and some people don't know that O'Shea Jackson Jr. is Ice Cube's actual son.
Right. Thanks for reminding me about that. I totally forgot about that.
Hey, no problem, man.
All right, moving on. We got Avatar, The Way of Water is just doing crazy business at the box office. It has officially passed The Force Awakens and taken the number 4 spot. It's currently at $2.12 billion behind Titanic's $2.19 billion. Will it catch it? We'll have to wait and see. And last but not least, already mentioned, Bad Boys 4 has been confirmed by both Will Smith and Martin Lawrence. They announced it through a video on Twitter yesterday. It is happening, guys. So that's what I miss. Luke, what stands out to you out of all these stories? Which one are you most excited about? Which one are you most wanting to talk about?
Easily Bad Boys. Because because you actually want to know something a little bit interesting about me?
Sure.
So Bad Boys, the very first one by Michael Bay, was actually the very first rated R film I ever sat down and watched.
Really?
Was Bad Boys. And so I kind of have a little connection with the first Bad Boys, but obviously the third one's the best. And
I enjoyed the third one the best too.
The third one's awesome, dude. I mean, they actually take it in a dark direction that I wouldn't have expected. But I have to say, but I mean, I really like the Bad Boys movies, because I mean, I'm kind of a sucker for those movies, and I have nostalgia for the first film. But when I thought that, what happened at the Oscars last year, obviously we're not going to touch upon that too much because I don't want to depress myself.
Touch upon that, you say?
But thank God we actually got Will Smith back in a project that I was not thinking that they were actually going to do another one, because I thought Bad Boys for Life would be the last movie in that franchise.
But yeah, no, I mean, I only saw the Bad Boys movies for the first time a couple of years ago. I'm not very nostalgic about them, but I did really enjoy the third film, so I'd be up for a fourth one.
Yeah, but I also, can I touch upon Avatar for a second?
Yeah, go for it.
So obviously, because another Friday's coming and new movies are coming to my theater, even though it's been getting the most runs at the box office in my theater, guess what?
What?
Avatar is gone.
It's gone?
Yep.
It's not playing anymore?
Yeah, and the last few times I've gone to the theater, it was both times for Puss in Boots, for Missing and Megan. I did go, I saw, when I went to go see those movies, the theater was all, there was cars, there was a lot of cars in the parking lot. And when I went to go see Megan, I asked one of the theater employees, "Is that for Avatar?" And he was like, "Yep." And I was like, "Of course."
Yeah, I mean, that's where all the money in the theaters are coming from right now.
But I mean, look, I know I may sound harsh just saying this, but I'm sorry. I'm kind of glad it's gone, because then it can actually give some people an opportunity to go support some smaller films that are playing in that theater. Man Called Otto, Missing, and Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. They're still keeping that.
Wow, that blows my
And
mind. Honestly, I can't believe the theater took out Avatar.
I'm like, thank you guys, thank you. Now
Well,
look, one last thing before we move on. I like Avatar, I do, but I just don't understand like the absolute like. I don't understand the people that just adore that movie.
yeah, I enjoyed
That's
it
why I
too.
kind of go off a little bit because it's just annoying to me. So,
Well, I just got to say, your theater must hate money. Anyways,
well, no, they kept Top Gun in for 2 months, so
oh, they kept Top Gun. That's good.
so yeah.
What do you
So, I
guys
mean,
think of all these stories, guys? What stands out to you in this list of what I miss? Comment down below, let me know. And without further ado, let's check out the chat and see what you guys are saying.
yeah, because you were telling me, oh, you theater must hate money, dude. They kept Top Gun in for like 2 months. Like,
I still think Top Gun was a bigger phenomenon than Avatar.
well,
Avatar
yeah,
is
it was
making all of
for
its
one, it
money
was
internationally.
yeah, but for one, it's a bigger phenomenon, and two, it's a better movie.
I agree. I agree with
And
both of those.
and you want to know where Top Gun landed in my favorites of all time now?
Where?
Top 3.
Your third favorite of all time?
Every time I think about it, and every time I've watched it, I like it more. Like,
wow.
That and plus the original Top Gun, I have so much nostalgia for. Is that the sequel? Like, it makes me appreciate the sequel even more.
See, I didn't really like the first Top Gun all that much, but I really liked the second one. I went into the second one with like dragging my heels. Like, I did not want to see it, but it was awesome.
And I know you have this, but I'll just show it for fun.
Yeah, man.
This beautiful steelbook. Anyways, yeah, sorry if I held the chat a little hostage there. But...
That's okay. That's just Joe is still in here. Man, he's like, I got to listen for a little. I can't go yet. Thanks, man. I appreciate you being here. I haven't seen Avatar 2, but surprised that it has made as much as it has. I mean, who could have predicted it? I didn't think it was going to hit 2 billion. I thought it was going to like.
I'm honestly not
maybe.
surprised because the first one was like the biggest thing ever for like throughout the 2010s. Like after it came out in 2009, I was like, well, I'm not going to be surprised if the sequel hits 2 billion.
Yeah, I just honestly, and I was the big doof over here saying that marketing sucked because all they were doing was showcasing the technology. We didn't really know what the movie was about.
Yeah, like
what do I know? Don't hire me for marketing. That movie sold itself so well.
But that's the thing, though. Like how you market a sequel is with Top Gun Maverick. Like they actually gave you like good hints of what the film is about.
Yeah,
like,
they did.
They didn't just show off like, oh, look at these cool planes. Like they didn't just do that. They actually were helping us like get behind the story.
And it had like characters that people loved and adored since like the 80s. Avatar, I don't know if people loved and adored those characters. I certainly didn't. I like them a lot more now after the second one. I finally know the name Natiri.
God. Natiri. Oh my god.
I always just called her Zoe Saldana. I never knew what her name was.
Yeah. Like that's the thing about Avatar for me as well. Like it just like I forget about it. So there are days I remember it, and then there are times where I just forget it. Because that's kind of why I want to lower my score for it, but I still like it. It's just I don't get the cultural like hype around it. I just don't get it.
An amazing theater experience. I'll be interested to see how much people think when they watch it at home and it dies down.
Yeah, guarantee it's gonna die down.
That's just Joe also goes on to say, just considering it's been so many years since the first, but sounds like general audiences are seeing it. Oh, they're seeing it. They're seeing it in droves.
Yeah, because go back to a little bit to what I just pointed out when I went to go see Puss in Boots, Megan, and Missing.
I've only seen it one time, but I have a cousin who's seen it like 4 times. So
Jesus Christ!
People love that. I know, right? It's 3 hours long. People love the Avatar.
I would go see Puss in Boots 4 times. Like Jesus! I'd even go see Missing 4 times. Like, why?
Oh my goodness, that's really funny.
All right, dude. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry if I'm breaking anybody's hearts because of Avatar and me ranting about it, but I don't care. I'm sorry.
All right, man. We got to move on. We got to move on to the first topic. We've got so much to go through. We really got to move on.
I know we do. It's just, but I kept holding the chat hostage for that one.
All right, let's move on to topic number 1. And this is going to be all DCU based, guys, because James Gunn dropped a lot yesterday with his slate on what DC is going to be. First of all, we got the official kind of phase, if you want to call it. They're calling it Chapter 1. This is going to be called Gods and Monsters. And James Gunn said this is only the partial slate for Chapter 1 for Gods and Monsters. So he dropped like 10 titles, and this isn't even all of it. So they're phase 4 in it, guys. They're right out the gate. They're phase 4 in it.
Yep. Like they're just like, they're just doing all of that, and I'm like, slow your roll. Like, we need some time here. Like, but it's James Gunn, so what are you gonna do?
That's right. And one of the big questions that we had going into this announcement was what's going to happen with Matt Reeves' Batman? What's going to happen with the Joker? What's going to happen now that this DC universe is flipping on its head and starting anew? We didn't really know. Well, James Gunn shed some light on that with announcing that they are officially rebranding the solo standalone movies as DC Elseworlds. Here's what he had to say. As many of you know, DC has been disconnected in film and television for a long time, and it's one of, our jobs, mine and Peter's, is to come in and make sure that the DCU is connected in film, television, gaming, and animation, that the characters are consistent, played by the same actors, and it works within one story. And if something is outside of that, like Matt Reeves' Batman, Todd Phillips' Joker, or Teen Titans Go, that it is clearly labeled as DC Elseworlds outside of the mainstream DC continuity. Now, I'll tell you what I love a lot about this. This gives DC the ability to kind of have their cake and eat it too, because DC, the cinematic universes, they do very well. We've seen that with Marvel. We've seen that with some other, like even the Godzilla and King Kong universe is doing pretty well.
Yeah.
The Monsterverse, thank you. But there is a craving, I think, in the fandom, and I felt it myself, for more of these standalone, separated from universes movies. And by labeling this DC Elseworlds like the comics do, I know that, I have that information that the comics do, we're going to be able to get stories that otherwise would not be able to happen because they wouldn't fit into the universe. And that's a strength that DC, by making this decision, has over Marvel right now. Like a strong strength. What do you think, man? What do you think about this DC Elseworlds idea?
It's a lot to cover, man. It is a lot to cover, but you know what? It's James Gunn, so I can't doubt him. Like, I can't doubt James Gunn. Like, after we had, like, his cultural phenomenons with both Guardians of the Galaxy movies and the Suicide Squad, and also Peacemaker, I can't have any doubts of James Gunn. And with him helming DC and getting out with all these new projects, like, right away, like, that's impressive. Like, and it makes me excited for the future. Like, but it kind of sucks that that some of the stuff that we've gotten out of the DCEU doesn't matter anymore. Like,
well, we'll talk about that in just a second, man. Hold your horses.
But I was meaning something like of Black Adam. Like, it doesn't matter anymore. Like, because they canceled like the sequel, and The Rock's just going off like, why would you do this? Like,
I'm sure he had James Gunn in a headlock and was just like
RKO. He probably just RKO'd James Gunn.
That's the real reason they fired Henry Cavill. They're like, we can't do anything about The Rock, but if we get rid of Henry Cavill, you can't do anything to us.
Nope.
Yeah, that didn't happen. But yeah, I think this is great because I know some people, they were hoping that the Batman would be the start of the DCU and that they would bring Robert Pattinson's Batman into the DCU. I was never on board with that. I didn't want that. I think he works best as a solo character in his own little pocket of a world. Like, I almost want him to be the only superhero that exists in that universe. Like, I don't want a Superman. I don't want a Wonder Woman. I don't want a Green Lantern in the Batman universe.
You definitely don't want a Swamp Thing in there.
You don't want a Swamp Thing in there. We'll find out what that's about in just a minute. But guys, what do you think of this? Are you a fan of DC Elseworlds? Do you like this idea? Are you like, boo, bring the Batman into the DCU? Comment down below. Let us know all your thoughts and opinions on this, guys. And without further ado, let's take a look at what you guys are saying. And that's just Joe. My worry has always been, will audiences tell the difference with what is DCU and Elseworlds? I guess our new Batman will help this. Thoughts? I think maybe the first couple movies will be confusing, but the fact that they say they're going to clearly brand it as DC Elseworlds, if they can separate that enough, like I know there's still some people who still get confused, but the way that the Venom movies and the Sony Marvel movies have a different opening than the MCU does, most audiences catch on that this is not part of the MCU. And I think they can do the same thing with DC Elseworlds just by having a different intro and clearly making it known that this is not part of the continuity of the DC universe.
Well, and also like by marketing campaigns, like you can tell that it's actually not part of that universe. Like,
yeah, if they market it right.
Yeah, well, because Morbius had bad marketing. What?
Morbius had terrible marketing.
Yeah, because in the last second, oh, Spider-Man, you're gone. Like, screw you, Sony.
And I mean, with the new Batman, because we'll talk about that too a little bit later. I think the audience will catch on pretty quickly the differences between Robert Pattinson and I think they're going to make the DCU Batman like drastically different from Robert Pattinson.
Well, and also that because it's separated from the DCEU, just like they did with Joker. Like they're both just DC films, just standing on their own. So obviously, people will be able to tell the difference very easily.
Yeah, that's a really good point too, because Joker that made like $1 billion. So obviously the audience
that was the first rated R film, and like that's the first and only rated R film to ever make $1 billion.
I thought did Deadpool get close to $1 billion? I thought it made $1 billion.
No, it didn't. Close? I don't think it did. Cause wait, hold on.
At the time, it might have just been the highest grossing R-rated film. It might not have.
Don't go on just yet. I'm gonna look really quick. Because I hate to hold up everybody here, but just.
That's Joe says that's very true. Good points. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
Aaron Austin. Well, thank you for being here tonight, Aaron Austin. Thanks for joining us.
What's up, Austin?
He's also got a channel, guys. Check him out. He's great. Hello there. I want to do my best Obi-Wan. Hello there.
Hello there. Dude, try doing your best like Ewan McGregor voice with that one. Jesus.
I can't do one. Hello there. I can't do one.
Okay,
I'm terrible
I just got it. It made $782.6 million worldwide.
Okay, so it was probably the highest grossing at the time, but I thought it was $1 billion.
At the time. And then but then Deadpool 2 outbeat it. Like just by a few.
Oh, okay. But
by 7
which R-rated movie was it, Austin? It's we're talking about the Joker.
The Joker is the highest grossing R-rated film of all time because it's the only one to ever make $1 billion.
Yep. That makes sense.
And for good reason, because that movie is amazing.
It is. I loved it. All right, guys, let's move on to topic number 2. Let's move on here. Because we haven't made a dent. All right, so topic number 2. One of the big questions I think many people had going into this announcement was what's happening with the DCEU, the current DCEU. What's happening with Gal Gadot? What's happening with Ezra Miller? What's happening with Jason Momoa? Well, this honestly, out of all of the announcements made, even the new stuff, this is the stuff that I found the most interesting because in the middle of James Gunn's video, he very flippantly said, "The Flash resets DC universe," and I kind of went, "Wait, what, James? Go back for a second. Don't just breeze over that. What are you talking about?" Here's what James Gunn had to say. Peter and I have gotten pretty lucky in terms of the 4 projects that are coming over the next year. First, we have Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Shazam has always been off kind of in his own part of the DCU, so he connects very well. That's a very interesting point right there. He connects very well. That moves directly into The Flash, a fantastic movie that I really love that resets the entire DC universe. Then to move into Blue Beetle, a fantastic film about a kid who's a marvelous part of the DCU, and then into Aquaman 2, which leads directly into our next few projects, which I'm going to tell you about now. And James Gunn went and he followed up with Deadline, and here's what he had to say with Deadline. I will say here that The Flash is probably one of the greatest superhero movies ever made, Gunn added. Then wiping away any doubt about the future of Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman, Jason Momoa's Aquaman, and Zachary Levi's Shazam, Safran emphasized, these 4 movies are terrific. There's no reason why any of the characters or the actors that play in those characters are not part of the DCU. I want to read that again. There's no reason why any of the characters or actors that play these characters are not part of the DCU. There's nothing that prohibits it from happening. We'll incorporate characters from the past, but mostly we'll cast anew, added the producer of Aquaman and Suicide Squad. There is so much there to unpack. I don't even know where to start. Like the fact that he says Shazam has basically been in his own corner of the DCEU. I understand that because he never really interacted with anyone else. I mean, they had Superman come in at the end, but his head was cut off, so we didn't really know who that was. But the fact that he's talking like, okay, and then the Flash resets the DCEU, but then Blue Beetle fits perfectly into DCEU, and then Aquaman will go into our new slate of movies. I know that Flashpoint, I didn't read the comic, but I watched the animated movie that DC put out.
Flashpoint Paradox.
Flashpoint Paradox, yes. I know that in Flashpoint, when he goes back and stuff like that, he changes some things, but some things remain the same. So I guess I could see them playing with that angle, but I honestly thought that they would want to just clean the slate, not have any connection to the past DCEU movies, but it doesn't look like they're going that route. And this just brings the question up even more of why did you have to get rid of Henry Cavill? What do you think, man? What do you think of all this? I found this fascinating.
It's crazy that James Gunn is wanting to go down this route. I mean, obviously, I don't doubt him. It's just what what went through with the quotes that you pulled up and everything. It's crazy to think about, and him just saying oh, The Flash is one of the greatest superhero movies ever made. How do we know that? That hasn't even come out yet. We don't know that.
Well, as head of DC Studios, he has seen the movie. There's a lot of people at Warner Brothers who have seen the movie, and if you believe the insider trades and all that stuff, all of them have said that it's fantastic. But James Gunn saying that it's the best or one of the greatest superhero movies ever made, he is still the head of DC, so he's not going to say it sucks. But
yeah, but I'm just saying,
I give it a little bit more credit.
How would we know that though? Because the movie hasn't even come out though. I'm just saying from a personal standpoint,
right?
Because if I was part of DC, I probably wouldn't have seen it by this point. I don't know if I would have, because here's the thing. If they just say verbatim, it's one of the greatest superhero movies ever made and it hasn't even come out yet, that's skeptical to me.
Right.
It just makes me think because of what they say, it's going to be bad.
Well, there I can see what you're saying there, because executives and people in the offices of DC and Warner Brothers, stuff like that, they will get access to the movie. They have to watch it. And James Gunn being the head of DC, I have no doubt that he's watched it. But we also have to remember that time Kevin Feige said that Eternals was the first Oscar contender for the Marvel universe, and he was even saying that it was the best movie that they've ever made. And Eternals didn't exactly hit as well with the audience. So you definitely have to take it with a grain of salt what they're saying here. They are still trying to sell their movie, but I don't know, man. That still gets me pumped to see The Flash. I know you own Eternals.
It hits me for sure, man.
You're a bigger fan than I am.
Top 10 for me, dude. But yeah,
But as far as the actors from the DCEU possibly staying and crossing over into the DCU, do you think that's confusing? Do you think there was really no point to even say that they're rebooting anything if they're just going to continue from where they've been at? That's clearly not working for the general audience.
I kind of don't think that there's a point in that, honestly, because after they fired Henry Cavill, I kind of don't feel like there's any point for that, because Henry Cavill was the one that played a Superman, and it was the movie that kicked off the DCEU. And then what do you know? About 9 years later, it's basically just snapped into dust.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing too, is if you're gonna carry on Gal Gadot, if you're gonna carry on even Ezra Miller, which is a possibility, Levi. I hope they. I'm not saying I hope they don't, but I hope that there's more decisions made before they just keep Ezra Miller. But we're not going to talk about that today. But basically, if you're going to have these characters that interacted with Henry Cavill's Superman, isn't it going to be a little weird that Henry Cavill is in there? But that could be the Flashpoint thing, right? Maybe all those characters remained in the universe after Flash does what he does in The Flash, and then Henry Cavill is just gone and they have a new, younger Superman, but the old Wonder Woman still remains.
Right. But at the same time, though, it's still, I mean, even though it may sound pointless at times, but at the same time, it's kind of confusing. Like,
Yeah.
Because you don't know exactly what what their plan is. Because even though they explain the plan, it still doesn't make sense. Like, because it kind of just feels like they're like, even like anytime they explain it, they're just going to give you the same answer. And it's like, well, anything new? Like,
yeah, no,
like that's the reason why I get confused with that kind of stuff.
Me too, man. I don't know. We're just gonna have to wait and see how this plays out. But what do you guys think of this? Some actors may be staying. The Flash resets the DC universe. All this is kind of just thrown at us, and we're not really getting any more nuggets from it. Are you guys excited about this news? Are you confused by this news? Are you mad about this news? Comment down below. Let me know all your thoughts and opinions. And without further ado, let's take a look at what you guys are saying about this. All right, we got Aaron Austin. This DC news is crazy. Sorry if I comment about stuff you've already mentioned, but I dislike them abandoning Henry Cavill. No worries, man. It's okay if you comment some stuff. We'll reiterate. But I will say this about the Henry Cavill thing. When it happened, I understood because I thought it was necessary to scrap everything and start anew if they were going to try and rebuild this thing from scratch. But now with these comments, it doesn't really sound like they're trying to build this thing from scratch. So now I'm a little bit more iffy on the Henry Cavill news.
Like they're just starting from like where they ended and then just trying to build up a new ground, like that thinks it's better than what they previously started. Like,
yeah,
because like they ended on Black Adam and now they think that, and now they're just gonna try to build it until like it gets like to where the ceiling is on my bed in my bedroom. Like,
yeah, the thing
I don't get it.
The thing for me is like I really thought the whole point of this, what they were trying to do, is basically disassociate themselves from the DCEU, because the DCEU, from its like first outing, you can like it's all subjective. You can say what you want about Man of Steel. It was divisive. Like from the start, some people liked it, some people hated it. They didn't have a great hook on the audience. This is like the equivalent to me if they did the Dark Knight trilogy, but George Clooney showed up in it as like a Bruce, like they connected it to the Batman movies that weren't working, so they started new Batman
the
films,
90s Batman movies, like the Joel Schumacher universe, I guess.
Exactly. It's like if they wanted to start a new Dark Knight trilogy, disassociated from the old Batman films, but I don't know, that guy, I can't remember his name, showed up as Robin, who was Robin in Batman and Robin.
Chris O'Donnell.
Chris O'Donnell, thank you. It's like if Chris O'Donnell showed up in The Dark Knight as an old Robin or something. Like
that
why
would you want to
make any
sense? Or even like if Val Kilmer showed up as like an older Bruce Wayne, or if like Jim Carrey showed up as an older Riddler.
Right, and that's kind of how this feels to me now. It's like, okay, well,
it's
not
like
all those
are they going to
worked.
It's like, what are they going to bring back, like Christian Bale's Batman or something like that? Like, what are they going to do?
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. Anyways, we should move on to another comment. Aaron Austin, I'm also bummed there won't be a Peacemaker season 2. I fell in love with that show. That's interesting. We'll talk about that in just a little bit, but that hasn't been canceled. That technically hasn't been canceled.
Dude. Oh, thank God.
It technically hasn't been canceled. It's been put on hold, they say. We'll talk about that in just a minute, actually. There is some information on that.
I saw that comment, like, and I was just like, no, they did not just do that.
Yeah, rest assured for now. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Okay.
That's just Joe. So Blue Beetle is technically the first DCU film. Shazam is technically the first DCU film. I don't know. I don't know
what's going on, man.
I really thought that this would clear up more questions that we had, but it just kind of muddied the waters a little bit more.
It basically just became like the most like convoluted like espionage like movie like ever.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you ask me, if they keep Gal Gadot, if they keep Ezra Miller in these roles, Man of Steel is still the first movie in the DCU because they'll still connect to it. So I don't know. It's very weird. It's very confusing.
Come on, James Gunn, specify yourself a little bit, please.
That's just Joe is responding to Aaron Austin. I'm sad that no Peacemaker season 2 for now too. Yeah, that's the key is for now.
For now though.
Yeah.
Thank you, because if it was like, oh, there's not going to be one, I'd be like, screw you.
No, we'll talk about that. That's just Joe. Maybe the Flash is how they explain Elseworlds and DCU. That's what I'm hoping. I don't think they have to
I
explain
don't
Elseworlds, but the
I
DCU I
don't
feel like they have
know
to
if they'll
explain.
do that. I mean, if they do that, then they have to explain it in a way where I'll get it. Because if they'd explain it in a way that I don't get it, then I'm not going to understand it.
That's the key, and that's the general audience key too, because they can do all the comic book
Exactly.
nerdy stuff, but if you don't get the general audience to understand, and I count myself in the general audience when it comes to the DC stuff. Like if
Yeah,
I don't
myself too.
understand it, then I'm not going to be on board. You're going to lose me again, which they didn't really lose me, but I wasn't always so big into the DC universe.
Yeah, I got to call up my best friend now to give me some help here.
That's just Joe. I think there is more to the Cavill stuff. There's gotta be. I mean, they did say when they put out the press statement and all that stuff, they did say they've talked to him about future involvement with the DC stuff. So maybe they have future plans and they just can't say it for now. And Henry Cavill just has to be like, I'm not Superman anymore. Like, just like contractually obligated to say that so that nothing spills. But something doesn't fit right now.
Well, it's just because, like, again, they're not explaining things right. Because, like, if they don't explain things right, then we're just going to keep asking more questions until we get a real answer.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's necessarily that they're not explaining things right. They're leaving so much out right now that we don't have.
They're leaving a lot of ambiguity on us, like on us fans.
Yes, absolutely. I'm sure in the walls of Warner Brothers and DC Studios, they know exactly what's going on with Henry Cavill. They've already got it planned and everything.
Know because obviously we don't know.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's see. That's just Joe is saying to Aaron Austin. I think Waller will be fantastic too. Oh, did I miss that? Did I miss him saying Waller will be fantastic? Yeah, we'll talk about Waller in a minute. Aaron Austin. I'm okay with them rebooting the DC movies. I only enjoyed Man of Steel and Wonder Woman 1. Yeah, that's. I mean, Aaron Austin kind of explains my point though. Is like those movies did not work for everyone. Like I don't want to compare DC and Marvel too much. But what I've always gone back to is when you go to that first Iron Man movie, the one that started the universe, it's all subjective, but generally it was beloved. It was a good movie. People got on board. And so when you show someone the MCU and you start with Iron Man, they have a great hook to continue them to want to watch the rest of the universe. Man of Steel didn't have that for a lot of people. So why would you want to still start there?
Yeah, but then what really got people wanting to continue on was obviously Wonder Woman. Like,
yeah, Wonder Woman was kind of like their saving grace, and then Wonder Woman 1984 came out.
Because then what do we have? We had BVS, which was
mixed again,
not the Ultimate Edition, which I love. The theatrical cut was mediocre, like painfully, and Suicide Squad. Well, liking at first was a huge flop. Like,
yeah, that didn't go.
It's a movie
well
that is just a gigantic second act of the city. Like, for crying out loud, Dave, Warner Brothers, trust your directors, please.
The fact that they sent that movie to be re-edited to a trailer company is just appalling.
Yeah, because and then everybody's like rooming for an air cut. We're not gonna get one anymore.
No, that's not happening.
Because honestly, the one that we got a couple of years ago, this is what I wanted for a Suicide Squad movie. This is what I wanted.
We got
the one that I wanted is what we got. So sometimes beggars can be choosers, but other times it's not. That's not that way.
Yeah,
just saying.
Aaron Austin, DCEU lacked an identity, and Marvel has slowly been losing theirs. I don't know if Marvel's been losing their identity. I think they've.
I know what he's meaning. Is because of their last before Wakanda Forever, their last couple of movies, like Multiverse of Madness and Love and Thunder, like a lot because, and like the backlash that those films got. So maybe that's why, or also the backlash that She-Hulk got. So
I can see that. I would say I think Marvel is struggling a little bit to rebuild a little, like from
rebuild
coming
themselves.
Off Endgame. Well, Endgame was like such a high.
Here's a better thing. Like they're trouble finding their way to how do I say this? Like breathe like new air into this universe. They're having trouble with that after Endgame because after Endgame people were like, well, what now? And then they gave us Phase 4, which a lot of the films in there I genuinely really enjoyed, but It's just
Absolutely.
that it didn't feel like it was heading in any direction because they were just like because it felt like quality over quantity, or no, quantity over quality. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm. I think you're hitting it right on the head. I think the big thing is that for general audiences, Endgame, the story was over, and they're having a little bit of struggle to convince people that there's more story
Well,
to get invested in. But I think
because
Kang and
because
Ant-Man will
Phase
fix that.
Four, because obviously Phase Four with well, in regards to how it really started was with WandaVision, which was the beginning of the multiverse saga, and
Mm-hmm.
and people didn't know like how they were going to handle the multiverse saga, and like the first like few things that we got out of the multiverse saga were hits, like which were WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier, and Loki, TV shows that were hits.
Yep.
And then we had
The
some.
movies are when it started
The
to
movies were
lose.
starting to get a little rocky. Black Widow was got good reviews, but had a mixed audience reception.
Mm-hmm.
Shang-Chi did great on both ends.
Probably the best
Um,
received one.
and Eternals was
Mixed.
very mixed.
Their first
Um,
Rotten scored tomato meter, which doesn't really mean anything, but
no, that wasn't.
yeah, it was their first one.
No,
It had
it
like
had
a
to go on to Thor
49%.
here.
Nope, even Thor Dark World is higher. Thor Dark World's in like the 60s.
I no, I can't.
It's true.
No.
It was the first anyways, we got to move on, man. We got to move on. That's
Okay,
just
but
Joe. I think Marvel is going to be up in their game and doing more special presentations as their own Elseworlds, but technically connected to the MCU. Werewolf by Night was different from the MCU films and shows overall. This is what they need.
yes, that's just Joe. You hit it right on the head right there. Werewolf, like that's what the MCU needs is something different, like Werewolf by Night.
Mm-hmm.
You hit it right on the head there, my friend. So thank you.
Aaron Austin. Oh wait, I love the second Suicide Squad movie with the starfish. Probably my
Thank
favorite
you.
DCEU film.
Gosh.
Mine too.
Gosh, bro, because I was about to say, where's the Suicide Squad? Like, that's my favorite, easily.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Gosh, like when he forgot to mention the Suicide Squad, I was like, am I tripping here? Like,
That's my favorite one too. All right, let's move
sure.
on. We got to get going on this. All right. All right. So, with the slew of stuff that was announced on the slate, we got a crap ton of television shows that were announced. So, we're going to start going through these guys. The first one that was announced that James Gunn unveiled, I should say, is something called Creature Commandos. I'm not going to lie, I don't know anything about this. It's going to be an animated show. And there's something very fascinating about this. Listen to this. Creature Commandos is an animated series. I've written all the episodes. Something we're going to do that's a little bit different at DC is we're going to have characters move into animation, out of animation, usually having the same actor play their voice as who plays them in live action. James Gunn also went on to say in Deadline why they are doing animated shows as well as live action. It's a way to tell stories that are gigantic and huge without spending $50 million an episode. Gunn has written this. It's done. Creature Commandos is comprised of military superhumans, including a human leader, a werewolf, a vampire, Frankenstein's monster, and a Gorgon. Gunn pointed out that Weasel from his Suicide Squad will be on the show. This band of misfits were introduced in Weird War Tales, created by J.M. DeMatteis and Pat Broderick, and that comes from Deadline. So the first animated show is going to be Creature Commandos. Based on what you hear from this, Luke, what do you think? Because I'll tell you what stands out to me the most about this. The premise sounds kind of cool, but I know that you like animation a little bit more than I do when it comes to TV shows. Not that I don't like it. I mean, I loved Invincible, but the fact that they're gonna have the same actors who voice the animated characters also play them in live action, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's interesting that they're going to go that way because because sometimes when you think about it in a different type of retrospect, you would think that they would get different actors to do that, but I think they were kind of like. I'm not saying that this is what they were like, but this is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking they were desperate to get those actors to come back and actually play their characters that they voiced in the animated show to be in live action. Like or maybe they just they called them up at like a dozen times or something like that. Don't quote me on it, because it. But I'm just saying, just trying to make a point here. So, but I'm interested in that. But I don't know much about Creature Commandos, so, but I'm kind of interested to see that, because I mean, but I also should clarify, I don't read much of the comics, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm not like, I'll read comics from time to time, but it's just something like that, like it never catches my eye. So like when I heard that James Gunn was announcing that, I was interested to see that. So, and the
Well,
fact that they're doing it as an animated show, I'm in for it.
yeah, I'm very curious to see what kind of actors they're gonna get, because we've seen Marvel take their A-list actors like What If and have them voicing their characters
Yeah,
in an animated
the
show.
actors that they had in the movies, like in the live action movies, and then bringing them into the show.
Right. But these actors, whoever they're going to be, they're going to sign up for this project. Actually, they may have already been signed up for the project. I don't know. But they would know that they're contractually obligated to be in the animated stuff and the live action stuff. And I don't know if there's a lot of A-listers that would want to do that.
I can't think of an A-lister that would want to do it.
Yeah,
Like,
it's definitely a lot to commit to. And I mean, it would be really cool if they got professional voice actors that they then would showcase in
yeah,
live action. That would be the way I kind of would want them to go, I think.
like what do you mean, like by like professional voice actors, like specifically?
I don't know. As an example, like Tara Strong. I'm not saying that
Oh
she would be
yes, she was
casted.
Timmy Turner from
Yeah, she's been
Turner.
a bunch of stuff, but like her
Yeah,
profession is voice acting. Like she's a professionally trained
that
voice actor.
makes
She's
more
not
sense.
like The
Yeah,
Rock that comes into the recording booth and says some lines as The Rock. Like she knows how to perform as a voice actor professionally. She could also, and I think she would also be able to I think she has done live action stuff too. So it could be an interesting way to get professional voice actors showcased in live action whenever they have to pop up in like Waller or something.
right. Yeah,
But anyway, guys, what do you guys think of this? Creature Commandos, the first animated show that's going to be in the DCU. Comment down below. Let me know if you've even heard of these people before. And without further ado, let's see what you guys are saying.
I should have also told you before we get into the comments. I should have told you that there's not a whole lot of characters that I also know, but again, I told you off stream that I took some notes on some of these characters, so that way I could
Yeah,
read them off like when we catch on to those.
yeah, that'll be helpful.
So
Where are we at now? We're at Chillmonger's in here, giving the eyes. He's
yeah,
watching. Welcome,
Chillmonger.
Chillmonger. Thanks for being here, man. That's just Joe. Actors playing the same character across all mediums. Brilliant idea. It's a bold idea, I would say.
Yeah, very, very bold idea.
Do you think this includes like I mean, I think they've already actually confirmed this, but like video games and like little like shorts they might do, like the fact that they want them to voice or be the voice and the character for all of the DCU.
I
That's
get,
crazy.
yeah, but it kind of depends on what spectrum you're looking through, like because I'm not trying to compare DC to any other video game companies, but I'm making a point. So like, because it's like you look at one of the a voice actor from a certain game, say like need a good one. Say it's voiced by like this is just an example, not like who actually voiced the character. Like say it's like say it's like Idris Elba voiced Batman in one of the games. Like how would that like come through to the actual animated realm? I don't think anybody would be like wanting to hear that like more often than not.
Hmm.
But again, like I'm saying, it kind of depends on what spectrum you're looking through, because it's like again, I'm not trying to compare this to anything, because like speaking of like Nintendo, again, just making a point. Just speak of like Nintendo, because again, like with the Mario movie, like they didn't want to have like the same voice actors come back to voice their characters.
Right.
Because let's see, because like again, you had Chris Pratt as Mario, you had Charlie Day as Luigi, Jack Black as Bowser, and Anya Taylor-Joy as Peach. So, and obviously those are not the original voice actors.
It's a great cast, though.
Yeah, but I have to say though, and then people just complain that it doesn't sound like the character in the games. Sometimes you have to think back to like different source materials, like the TV shows that they might be based off of, like the Super Mario World TV show. Mario had that type of voice, and people are going to complain that Donkey Kong cannot talk because obviously he doesn't really talk in the games.
Right.
But think back to the animated TV show Donkey Kong Country. He does talk.
Interesting points.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not trying to like compare apples and oranges here, but
no, man, I get it. This is good stuff.
Because I don't understand like why people just complain about that kind of stuff. Because it's like if you have one voice actor, they're not always going to stick to their job. Because sometimes like if they're getting old, they kind of need to step back a little bit and have someone else come in and take their job for them. Like, but it kind of depends on like who you're looking at. If it's someone that doesn't want to retire, that like wants to like that is like refusing to.
Well, I'm sure they'll get them young, and they won't have to worry about that for a while.
That's what I'm saying, though. But
it's going to be interesting to see how they pull it off. That's for sure. Tyler Calvert. Well, welcome, Tyler. Thanks for being here, man. Thanks for joining us. I love that James Gunn basically is like, okay, I'm going to hire myself to write several of these. I mean, he's living the freaking
Tyler's
dream.
The best, bro.
I mean, even that's just Joe says, wouldn't you if you were co-CEO of DC Studios? Like, James Gunn is living the
I couldn't even say that
dream.
Myself because I am not a writer.
Like, yeah, no, I would be terrible at the job personally, but James Gunn, I mean, that's something
pitching ideas. I mean, I could do pitching ideas, but not writing. Like,
yeah, I could probably pitch out ideas, but they wouldn't be very good. But that's something too. Is this this slate?
I'm supportive, bro. So I mean, I would like your ideas.
Oh, thanks, man. This slate would be like this slate is James Gunn written all over it. This is such a James Gunn slate. It's crazy.
Very crazy.
That's just Joe. These contracts are going to be big. Oh yeah, the multi-year, multimedia contracts these people are going to have to sign is just I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
Do you think this is an unprecedented move? Can you think of another time that someone has tried to do this where people who voiced an animation had to play live action or vice versa?
I can think of something in live action, but it's nothing like superhero related. Like, because again, comparing apples and oranges here, like they don't compare. But I'm again just making a point. Because after they shot X, they shot Pearl after they finished shooting that movie. So basically, they shot that movie back to back, and the post credits of X was basically teasing in what we were going to be getting later on in the year with Pearl. So basically, if Ty West came to me and got to sign both contracts, obviously you can tell that they were going to shoot that back to back. And
okay, yeah, I can see that's a little bit more common in Hollywood, but this is pretty. I don't know if I've heard.
Yeah, but if it was like
example of this,
saying like they were gonna like that they have like a slate to do like 6 say like 6 Swamp Thing movies, like animated, and they were gonna have the same voice actor for the for all of those movies, and, like to play Swamp Thing, and they signed those contracts, but they have to understand like what's in front of them for what's to come, like as the movies progress.
Right. So. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be really interesting. Derpy Entertainment. Well, welcome, Derpy Entertainment. Thanks for being here, man. I think Warner Brothers will take their time with this one and go all in because they are more than desperate. I mean, I think the timeline that James Gunn and Peter Safran.
You should have thought about them back in the late 2010s. Look how desperate they were with DC.
They're only signed for 4 years, Peter and James. And I think the timeline that they said they wanted to try and hit was 2 films a year and 2 TV shows a year. The first one being July, I think, is Superman, but we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
Aaron Austin, I think James Gunn writing on a majority of these films will help immensely with scope of vision, branding, and tone. That's a really good point. He's writing a lot of stuff.
And he is a great writer. Like, I can't deny that. Like, every single one of his films that he's directed, he's also written. So
yeah,
you can tell that James Gunn has quite a bit of talent behind him. Like, I mean, I
Absolutely.
kind of knew that like after Guardians of the Galaxy, but nobody knowed knew about his previous work like beforehand, like things that he wrote or directed. And I always knew the guy had talent, but I didn't know. Um, Again, not trying to get too off topic, just making a point here, like because he wrote the Scooby Doo movie from 2002. Like
Yeah.
nobody else knew about that. Like I didn't even know about that until I grew up, and I was like, wait, now I see why.
I found out through a nostalgia critic video.
Thanks to Jacob Hubbard for giving me that, for letting me know that, because I actually did not know that until last year.
Oh, that's
But
cool.
but you can tell that James Gunn has quite a bit of talent behind him, even after he got into the MCU with Guardians.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's good at like bringing some characters that not a whole lot of people know about, like the Guardians, and just making them like the most lovable characters in the universe.
Yeah, man, he's good at making you fall in love with the Misfits.
Yeah.
But also what I liked too in the video presentation that and I don't have any quotes for this. I should have taken some, but I love that he said their priority is storytelling. They want to tell good stories, and that's the key to the success. And I liked hearing that.
Yeah, but I gotta say one thing really quick. He might need to slow down a little bit with his humor, because sometimes his humor gets a little too far fetched.
Yeah, hopefully it's not going to be Peacemaker humor all the time.
Peacemaker was a little too far fetched.
Yeah. Drippy Entertainment went on to say because of the money as a whole for the company, it's not looking good. Oh, you're talking about like the debt and stuff that they're in. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the debts that they owe.
You know how many studios are in debt though? Like I think Disney has like billions of debt too. I mean, I don't know. I'm not gonna give any advice on finances or anything. I'm the last person you should be talking to about that. So I can't speak too much for that, but I'm sure they'll be okay. They're a pretty big company.
Yeah.
Fans of something.
Yay!
And Haley, if
you're
there, I don't know.
Yes, sir. What's going on?
Thanks for joining us tonight, man. Especially since you don't like superhero stuff, comic book movies, you know. Hey, Zach and Luke.
I'm just imagining that boom right there. Boom. Shout out to you, Eddie.
Wait, hey, Zach and Luke. As long as they leave my precious Joker sequel alone and don't tie it into anything else. Hashtag DC Elseworlds. That's what they say they're doing. So at the moment, you can rest assured, Eddie, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. Aaron Austin, James Gunn wrote that Mary Jane joke. I knew I liked him. Oh yeah, that Shaggy and Mary Jane joke, the one I didn't understand until I turned like 15.
That's right. In Scooby Doo.
That is my favorite name.
God, bro, like why is that? Why am I getting traumatized by that movie as a 19-year-old?
This is totally off topic, but that scene where they're driving on like the four-wheelers and her face hits the branch and it gets all disfigured. Nightmares as a kid. And like stretches it all out. Like freaked me out as a kid. Couldn't do it.
I'm guessing that probably James Gunn got an inspiration for that kind of scene into the Suicide Squad when Pete Davidson got his face shot off. Like,
yeah. Oh, that
maybe,
was a shocking
but
scene.
you never know.
I would not be able to watch that as a kid. MJ, well, welcome, MJ. Thanks for being here tonight. Compared to MCU Phase 1, how high y'all rate this DCU Phase 1? Well, can't really rate it because we haven't seen anything from it. Phase 1 of the MCU was definitely building towards the Avengers. I don't really know if this is building towards Justice League. It just kind of seems like they're really trying to fill out the universe. I'd almost akin this more to Phase 4 of MCU than I would Phase 1, but I will have to wait and see. But it's looking good. I'm very intrigued for a lot of the stuff that they've announced. I'll say that.
Yeah.
That's just Joe. How do you both think Flash is going to turn out overall? Best comic book movie ever, as Gunn said. I hope at least good. Like it's hard to. I think it's going to turn out good. Honestly, I have faith in Andy Muschietti. I'm super excited for Michael Keaton to be back as Batman. Despite all of the stuff in the outside world that's going on, I do think Ezra Miller is a good actor. So I have faith in his performance. I'm looking forward to seeing more of this. I'm hoping the Barry Allen in The Flash is more akin to how he played him in Zack Snyder's Justice League than Joss Whedon's Justice League, because he annoyed the crap.
Basically, like
it annoyed the crap out of me in in Joss Whedon's in the theatrical cut of Justice League, but Zack Snyder's Justice League, he was way cooler, and I liked him a lot more. So
yeah, and I gotta say, if you want to see Ezra Miller as a good actor besides the DCEU, watch films like The Perks of Being a Wallflower or The Stanford Prison Experiment.
Yeah.
Because because if you think that he's not a good actor in the DCEU, watch those movies because he can act.
Fans of something so not totally understanding what's going on here. DC fired Zack Snyder and hired James Gunn. Is that right? Not quite. We can't go into everything because we got to move on. We've only gone through one TV show and it's been an hour. But basically, Zack Snyder was working on Justice League. He had a horrible tragedy in his family, which Warner Brothers used as an opportunity to get him off the film. They brought in Joss Whedon to finish it. He tweaked with it, made it a completely different vision. Zack Snyder came back. He was able to release his official cut on HBO Max. And the head of Warner Brothers, well, they didn't have a DC Studios. They had people that ran DC. So Walter Hamada was kind of like the big head of DC at the time, but there was a totally different boss of Warner Brothers. So now that boss is gone, and David Zaslav, who owns Discovery, has bought Warner Brothers. He's the head of Warner Brothers now, and he's the one that hired James Gunn and created a DC Studios, as opposed to having a DC Films under the main Warner Brothers movie branch. That's the best way I can explain it in the little time that we have. That's just Joe. Zack Snyder was never head of DC. DC Studios is a new division. Hope that helps. Yep, that's exactly right. All right, guys. We're going to move on now. We're going to move on to the next show. And this goes back to a little bit more of my confusion, but it'll kind of make things a little bit clearer for some of the stuff that we were talking about. Waller has been announced. Waller. This is the story of Amanda Waller, who is played by Viola Davis. Viola Davis is going to team up with members of Team Peacemaker, and this is a story that's been created by Crystal Henry, who did Watchmen, and Jeremy Carver, who created the Doom Patrol. It's a fantastic story that's out of this world, and I can't wait for people to see it. Going further into Deadline, James Gunn said, "We're using the same actors. This is a continuation of Peacemaker. I'm working on Superman, so we can't do Peacemaker Season 2. We're working on Waller in between." Gunn told The Room. Crystal Henry is writing the show along with Jeremy Carver, and while none of the features are rated R, the TV series could lean into being more adult. I think this is cool because I like Viola Davis as Amanda Waller. I think she's a cold-hearted character that I enjoy watching in Suicide Squad. I even liked when she showed up. I mean, spoiler alerts for Black Adam, but I liked when she showed up in Black Adam. I thought that was cool.
That was a good cameo.
So she's back in the DCU. They're keeping people from Peacemaker, also connected to the DCEU. It's very interesting. This show, I wonder if it's going to have the same kind of feel as Peacemaker, if they're going to involve the Peacemaker type characters. But the fact that it's being written by someone completely different than James Gunn and more people who have done more serious toned stuff,
well,
I have a feeling it's going to be completely differently toned. But I'm looking forward to this. This sounds cool.
Yeah, I mean, I like this idea. I do, because I mean, I love the character of Amanda Waller. I mean, obviously, but I can't root for her because of what she almost tried to do in the Suicide Squad in the third act. Like,
she's
Jesus.
such a horrible character. Like, she's a bad person.
Yeah, and tried to put Bloodsport's daughter in prison. Like, and she was only 16 years old. Like, how messed up is that? Like, oh my God. And
yet I enjoy it.
And just the way that, yeah, and just like, but the thing I love about that character is that Viola Davis just relishes that role. Like,
she does.
She becomes Amanda Waller.
You can't take your eyes off her. She's amazing.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, any performance that Viola Davis does, like, she just transforms herself. She doesn't just become like typical herself. Like, she's just transformative.
I completely agree. All right, let's move on to another one because we're we gotta keep going. So another show that they announced is one that I know nothing about. Maybe you can shed a little bit more light on it, but it sounds kind of cool. Is Booster Gold. Booster Gold is one of comics' really popular cult heroes. He's a fascinating guy. He's a loser from the future who uses future technology to come back to present day and become a superhero so that people will love him. It is basically the superhero story of imposter syndrome on an HBO Max series. You know what I find really interesting so far about this
What's
slate,
that?
and you're already seeing it. They take place in so many different timelines or time periods, I should say. Because
in different time periods that we can't keep up with.
yeah, it's interesting because in Creature Commandos, I believe it said World War II, or I might have read that somewhere else, but I believe it said World War II. Because they said that Rick Flag Senior is going to be in it, so Rick Flag's father is going to be in it, and Booster Gold comes from the future, who's going to come to the past. I imagine it's probably around the same time that the other DCU stuff is going on, but it's interesting to have a character from the future come back because he'll know future information, I assume, about the characters that we're watching in real time. This could be a really interesting show, depending on what angle they go with it. Do you know anything about Booster Gold? Can you shed any more light on this?
So, well, the only thing that I know, like he has been a member of the Justice League, like as far as I know, because I tried Googling this stuff. That's the reason why I took some notes on some of these, but this one barely gave any information that would like pop out to me. Like the only thing that really popped out was that he was part of the Justice League. I'm sure that was in the comics,
Mm-hmm.
but again, like, but I'm not that much of a comic reader. So if you guys know about this character, help us out a little bit.
So he could potentially be the first member of a new Justice League that we're building up to that comes from an HBO Max show.
It could be. It depends on like how well it does. Like how well it does, like depending on reviews and watch hours, because depending on watch hours, that's when they can skyrocket their popularity and get renewed, like for something different, and like where they're gonna take this character. Like
that's a good point. That's a really good point.
Because again, comparing apples and oranges here, because Wednesday hit over 1 billion watch hours on Netflix, so there was no doubt that they were going to get a season 2, and that's because obviously of its popularity. And they did the same thing with Stranger Things. Like it was so popular around Netflix that it got renewed for several seasons.
Right. If the Booster Gold character doesn't do too well with audiences on HBO Max, they probably won't bring him into the movies. They'll probably
probably so. Like that's what I'm saying. Like
a smart strategy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, because other Netflix, like if other HBO Max shows are not getting that many watch hours, say like if Velma doesn't get so much watch hours, then obviously after they finish that season, they're going to cancel the show. They're not going to continue on because obviously nobody's watching it.
Right.
And if a lot of people are watching it, they'll continue on.
Good point. Good point. Okay, moving on to one last one, because I'm pretty sure this is one that you're pretty excited about. People have been waiting. I've seen it online. I personally haven't been, because the only Green Lantern I've seen is Ryan Reynolds. Don't come at me. Don't come at me. I'm sorry. It's the only one I've seen. But they've announced that the Green Lantern's coming back in the form of lanterns. This is a story of a couple of Green Lanterns. I think it's John Stewart and Hal Jordan. And we have a few other lanterns peppered in there, but this is a really terrestrial-based TV show, which is almost like True Detective, with a couple of Green Lanterns who are space cops watching over Precinct Earth. In it, they discover a terrifying mystery that ties into our largest story of the DCU. What can you tell us about Lanterns, man, or the Green Lantern? Are you excited about this? This sounds really cool and really fun to me.
Yeah, but they said in the vein of True Detective, which I have not seen. I have not been able to catch on to that show yet. I've only heard like the first season's like the only one like worth watching. Not everything else is just like no. But like I've watched some of the Green Lantern animated stuff, and of course I did watch the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern. But
the best Green Lantern, am I right? Am I right?
Freaking Christ! Yeah, the flashback to Deadpool 2 when he shot himself because he read the Deadpool like the Green Lantern script.
What can I say? I was like 10, and I liked the movie when I saw it in theaters. I haven't watched it since.
But let me see. I'm trying to find the movie here. If you want a good thing on Jon Stewart, like a good movie on Jon Stewart, this would be it right here. Is Green Lantern: Beware My Power.
Okay.
That just came out not too long ago. And this is one he's like in a little bit of a galactic war. So And if they can kind of go into like some more like galactic war kind of stuff, then you would honestly be as invested as you would want to be, because a lot of the battle stuff that they did with the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern happened on Earth. They didn't really do
Right.
it like in space or anything.
The best part of that movie is when he goes to space, when he goes to the other lanterns and trains
Yeah,
and
but it
stuff.
but
That
it
was
but it
cool.
doesn't stay for very long though. It's
No.
just like it's it's like one thing there, and it's just like, okay, hi, and
Well, it
then
is
we're gone.
interesting that in this quote they said that the show would take place mostly on Earth.
Yeah, but I'm saying though, like depending on how they do with that, it could be an interesting idea. But then what I'm saying is, if they do it well, then and if they renew it for another season, I would want to see them go into space and
Yeah.
not just stay on Earth, because that's what people had complaints about the first Thor movie, is because it took too much place on Earth, and then people were wanting more scenes on Asgard, which we got in Thor: The Dark World, but that did not work.
Right. That's true. Well, what do you guys think of all this? What do you guys think of Waller, Booster Gold, and Lanterns? What are you most excited about? What are you least excited about? What do you know the most about? For me, it's probably Waller, but that's still not saying much. Comment down below. Let us know. And without further ado, let's see what you guys are saying. All right. Where are we at now? Fans of something. So the DCEU is no more, dude. No one knows.
After Black Adam, no one knows, man. Like,
Black Adam might not be anymore. Well, I mean, remember when Dwayne Johnson put out that tweet where he was like, Black Adam will not be part of this chapter, but we might see him in the multiverse chapter. Remember?
yeah,
he, like,
and
said
then in that,
it was like really cryptic almost.
Yeah, and then this dude thinks it's like oh, it's gonna change the DCEU, and yeah, it did.
Well, I thought one of the things that DC might have had the advantage of building towards with having the DCEU, if they were going to do the DCEU completely separate, was Crisis on like Infinite Earths.
Crisis on Two Earths.
On Two Earths, yeah. They could have played
like the DC animated movie Justice League Crisis on Two Earths.
Yeah.
Or basically something like because obviously in Black Adam they brought in the Justice Society, something like Hawkman and Dr. Fate. So if they did something like the animated film Justice Society World War II and kind of putting it in that era, it probably would have made it a little bit more fathomable. Not just being like a generic superhero story that we've seen done a dozen times.
Right.
Like, I kind of wish they kind of leaned into those types of facets, like in regards to bringing this character on the big screen for the first time.
It'll just be interesting to see if like Black Adam and Henry Cavill could return in a multiverse kind of way down the line. We'll have to wait and see.
I wish.
Aaron Austin, I didn't know Waller was a continuation of Peacemaker. I'm sold. Well, there you go, man. I'm glad I could bring that news to you, and I'm glad that your heart can be prepared a little bit as you wait for Peacemaker season 2.
Oh man.
Aaron Austin, I hope we get to see Waller's daughter again too. She was amazing. Okay, I have not watched all of Peacemaker, but I pretty much know about it. Did you watch Peacemaker, all of it, Luke?
I did, but I don't remember that she had a daughter. It just kind of it's fogging my memory a little bit.
Okay,
I need to go back.
At the end of Peacemaker, I'm pretty sure I heard this somewhere, so you can confirm this for me. At the end of Peacemaker, didn't her daughter expose her to the world as being the leader of Task Force X and told the world about Task Force X, about the Suicide Squad program?
I don't remember that, to be honest with you.
You don't remember that?
My memory is cloudy on that show, so I need to watch it again because I binged through like the rest of that show after I watched the first few episodes.
Okay, yeah,
and then like my memory is just, and then it's just like poof, gone.
Yeah, I never got there, so I heard that around Twitter and on some reviews and stuff. So
yeah,
that'd be interesting to see if Waller plays into that. Oh, Aaron Austin is saying yes. Aaron Austin's saying yes. That's how it ended. So it's gonna be interesting to see if Waller.
Thank you, Austin. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, she did. All right. Thanks, Austin. Yeah. It's gonna be interesting to see if that plays into Waller and how that plays into Waller. Chillmonger. Booster Gold is known by comic readers. He had an episode in JLU.
Justice League Unlimited. Justice League Unlimited.
Okay.
But I mean, and how would I know that? Because I'm not really much of a comic reader, Chillmonger. Explain yourself a little bit, man.
Interesting. So he hasn't really done anything other than comic books. Like he hasn't shown up in any cartoons or past
That
movies or
I
anything
know
like that.
of besides Justice League Unlimited. So
Interesting. All right, we're caught up with comments and questions, so we can move on now to our last, not our last topic, but our last TV show before we get into the movies. And this one I kind of wanted to leave on its own because I think this one is really, really interesting. One of the questions, that people ask or are asking is if Gal Gadot's coming back as Wonder Woman or if they're doing another Wonder Woman. And this goes back to my point of it's interesting that the slate of DC Universe movies is taking place in different time periods because we've got the announcement of a show called Paradise Lost, which is going to take place in Themyscira before Wonder Woman. Here's what James Gunn had to say. Paradise Lost is a story of Paradise Island, usually known as Themyscira, which is the birthplace of Wonder Woman. It's almost like Game of Thrones with Westeros, but with all of the inhabitants of Paradise Island. Going on, he said, it's going to be a Game of Thrones story about Themyscira, the home of the Amazons and the birthplace of Wonder Woman. This drama is really about the political intrigue behind the society of all women. How did that come about, says Saffron. What's the beautiful truths and the ugly truths behind all of that? And what's the scheming like between all the power players in that society, adds Gunn. The series will take place before the birth of Diana, aka Wonder Woman. That should say Deadline because that's where I got that quote from. This show sounds fascinating. This show almost doesn't even sound like a superhero show. Like this of all the shows, this is one of my more intriguing ones. Like I want to see this. I want to see how this society can. That was one of the things that I liked about the first Wonder Woman so much was when we were on Themyscira. I wanted more time in Themyscira. I shouldn't say this probably won't be that Themyscira because at this point, who knows? It could be that same Themyscira, but
you never know.
The fact that he's like saying like it's Game of Thrones ish, it's all about political intrigue with a woman, like this just and it's a drama. This just sounds like a really, really fascinating show. What do you think of Paradise Lost, man?
It sounds great, man. I mean, obviously, I didn't really get that much into Game of Thrones, but just hearing that and me watching House of the Dragon, which is a prequel to that Game of Thrones, so I kind of get that scope and feel of it. If they say it's going to be like Game of Thrones ish, so I'm like, okay, I kind of see what you're doing. And you said, and you just said that it doesn't feel like a superhero show.
Yeah,
That's
it's almost
like just not feeling like it's so focused like on the superhero like babble that people are just gonna be like, oh, we need more superhero stuff. Stop. Sometimes we need some time to back up a bit and not be so hard on the superhero stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I get what you're saying. And going on to that point about it not being too much of a superhero feeling show, the setting, the environment, the way that they're setting this up, at least in this quote, it's like the closest to kind of like a medieval kind of show that they could have. Like it doesn't even feel like it would be like modern day.
So basically, like because like you said, and saying against Game of Thrones is, so it basically be like in that Game of Thrones era, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And in a lot of ways,
it's also interesting that they're setting this before the birth of Wonder Woman because at least in the Wonder Woman movie, I don't know how they play it now in the DCU, but the women all kind of got along. It was kind of like a utopia kind of feeling. So to go before that and to see maybe the development of how that came to be, but before it was more bloodshed and throats cut and backstabs.
It was more of a darker place by then.
Yeah, I'm really
I want to see
to get
that,
into that.
like not just being like, oh, we all get along here. No, come on, we need to at least see some conflict, because that's what I like in stuff like this. Getting to see a little bit more conflict and like why it's happening like this.
Absolutely, but what's cool about this show too is that you could have the swords and sandals fights and have them on horses and have like really cool action, but you could also have like really psychological and politically filled conflicts.
Yeah.
And if the writing is there, if the dialogue is strong, this could be like even an Emmy contender type show.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
but again, it depends on like how they're going to execute it though, because sometimes you don't know. because it's brought to its fullest potential, but then you don't know how they're going to execute it.
Absolutely. Everything comes down to execution. But I mean, I have faith in them. It sounds like they have a clear idea of what they want the show to be.
Yeah.
This one sold me. I got pretty hyped on this one. What do you guys think of this? What do you guys think of Paradise Lost? Are you excited for it? Would you rather just have a Wonder Woman movie? Comment down below. Let us know all your thoughts and opinions. And let's take a look at what you guys are saying.
All right.
Chillmonger is saying Game of Capes.
Freaking A, dude.
That's not bad, actually.
Yeah, that's fine, but like Game of Capes, though, really, this is a game of superheroes.
All right, that was Chillmonger's was the only comment, so that kind of works out because we gotta move on. We gotta move on.
All right, bring it.
All right, let's move on. Now we're moving on to there's one more other comment. Let's just see what they got. Yeah, just something says I got nothing. Go DC, dude. I really appreciate
if it's Eddie commenting, bro, I love you, man.
It sounds like Eddie. Eddie, like the fact that you don't like this isn't your thing. You don't really care about comic book movies and superheroes, but you're still in the chat means so much to me, dude. Thank you so much.
If it's not your bread and butter and you're still here, man,
that's a huge honor, man. Thank you so much. Aaron Austin, this sounds more appealing to me than a Wonder Woman film. Honestly, I'm kind of leaning that way too. I might just have like the bad taste of Wonder Woman 1984 still in my mouth, but I kind of would prefer.
Well, it's not really that. It's just because I felt like even though I liked 84 for what it is, it felt like they didn't really have a plan of what they were wanting to do.
Right.
So like, and that's the thing though. If you want to be able to have a successful franchise, you need to have a plan.
It's just kind of crazy how the first Wonder Woman was a little bit more grounded. And it felt more serious in tone at times. 84 was just goofy.
Very cartoonish.
They just went cartoony and goofy, and I just didn't think it worked.
I liked that turn for what they were trying to do, but yes, I can't acknowledge that was a baffling turn.
Kristen Wiig belonged in Batman Forever, not in a modern day superhero film.
Zach. Okay, yeah, you just made my night with that.
That's just my opinion.
But that was good. That was good though. I mean, yeah, just have Kristen Wiig basically be the female Riddler.
Pretty much. That's how she played it.
So basically, you have Jim Carrey and Kristen Wiig as basically Mr. and Mrs. Riddler.
That's an
analogy there. So take that right there.
All right, let's move on to topic number 4, or the beginning of topic number 4. I'm sure it's like topic number 4, A, B, C, D. We're moving on to the movies. We've got the movie announcements. So the first one right off the bat, and this one we already knew about. We knew Henry Cavill was out. We knew James Gunn was working on a superhero or a Superman movie. Sorry. Well, now we've got an official date and an official title with Superman Legacy. James Gunn had to say, okay, next up is the big one, the true beginning of the DCEU, which, as we've already acknowledged, what the heck does that even mean at this point? The true
Explain
beginning.
Yourself, dude.
Yeah, I mean, could it be the beginning, as in after Flashpoint, this is the first look into the new universe? We'll have to.
I need clarifications here, for God's sakes.
Yeah, we'll have to figure it out. But anyways, he says this is the true beginning of the DCU. This is called Superman Legacy. It's being written by me. I'm in the middle of it, having a great time doing it, and Superman will be released into theaters July 11th, 2025. On a deadline, I don't know why I keep putting James Gunn. This is supposed to be deadline quote. No director attached, but Safran was elbowing Gunn yesterday that he'd really like him to helm the release, or really like him to helm the movie. The release date is July 11th, 2025. It's not an origin story. It focuses on Superman's balancing his Kryptonian heritage with his human upbringing. He's the embodiment of truth, justice, and the American way. He's kindness in a world that thinks of kindness as old-fashioned. Now, I'm not the biggest Superman fan or knowledgeable about Superman. My knowledge of Superman mostly goes to...
I mean, hey, you're wearing a shirt though.
I am wearing the shirt. Yeah, you gotta represent for DC night. The Christopher Reeve Superman is kind of like my introduction and my knowledge on Superman. And I really liked Christopher Reeve's Superman. I liked his optimism and his kindness. And I feel like that's what they're going back to with this based on their quotes. What do you think of James Gunn officially announcing Superman Legacy and the fact that he's writing it? Do you have any concerns based on his previous work that he's doing a Superman film? I feel like he'll be able to switch up his gears enough to write a Superman
If he
film.
can switch up his gears, then I'll be happy because I mean, obviously it hasn't come out yet, but what I'm hearing about Guardians 3 is that he's still going to keep his humor in there, but he's trying to switch gears a little bit because it's the final Guardians movie.
Right.
If he can, I mean, obviously this is just a start, but like if he can kind of balance that tone that he's doing with Guardians 3, if he can kind of just balance it, like balance the comedy and balance the drama, you can have like the best Superman movie like ever. And with him writing it, I don't have any doubts in James Gunn because again, I love the man to death. Like he's a fantastic writer, and with whatever he comes up with, it just turns into gold. Like
Yeah. And with the Guardians, like they were established in a comedic tone. They were established to be comedic movies. I feel like he's such a fan of Superman. I feel like he knows that his comedic humor is not necessarily the place all the time for Superman.
It's basically far like few and far between.
Yeah. What do you think of Peter Safran wanting him to direct? Would you want James Gunn to direct this since he's writing it?
Yes, because again, even if if James Gunn is just awesome as a writer, you don't know him as a director because that dude knows how to direct movies. I mean, like even directing action sequences, he doesn't like just make the camera just he doesn't do the generic shaky cam like Matrix kind of thing. Like he can actually like keep the camera still in certain moments, and like whenever it's an action sequence. Like look back on the beach scene of the Suicide Squad. Like he kept even like when spoiler alert, when the helicopter was coming at Captain Boomerang,
that was
he
shocking to me.
Very shocking, but he did not use any shaky cam. He actually but they kept the camera still.
Mm-hmm.
So, and if they can do that with a Superman movie, I mean, yes, definitely there was some shaky cam in Man of Steel
when he's learning how to fly.
The fly thing that was a little jarring for me.
It was kind of cool, I thought, because it was kind of like the way that he was kind of figuring it out and he was kind of shaky with it. It kind of like helped us get into.
I kind of just wish though that they would have like kept it a little still so I could actually kind of understand like the viewpoints a little bit more. You know, like you know what I mean? Because sometimes when the camera gets so shaky, I don't get what they're trying to do because then it's just like, well, I can't see what's going on. You're shaking the camera all the time.
Yeah. No,
and again, James Gunn keeps perfect still shots. I mean, even like when he moves the camera, like especially like during that scene, when Harley escapes from the castle, there was like
I love a side.
That. Yeah, there was like
my favorite Harley Quinn moment.
Yeah, and every time it's like edited like to certain cuts, it doesn't it's not like so many jump cuts that's just like thrown in your face. So like a Resident Evil movie where it's just like jump cut after jump cut, like times 95.
Right.
Oh.
No, absolutely. I mean, I'm totally there with you. Oh, you went away. Oh, you're back.
Everything okay, good? Sorry, I blacked out there for. Sorry, it's the screen time thing.
Okay, wasn't sure if I lost you or not.
No, I'm fine. No worries. All right. But as I was trying to say, as long as they don't do so many jump cuts, like jump cut after jump cut times 95, they can at least be able to help us understand like what they're trying to do.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I think James Gunn's a great director. I totally would not be opposed to him directing. I would have a little bit of fear of James Gunn getting burned out. I think he's got so much going on. He's writing a Superman film. He's in post-production on a Guardians film. He's writing other series. I mean, that would be my only concern is him getting burned out and maybe the film suffering for it. But other than that, James Gunn is a great director. I totally have no problem with him directing.
Like I'm looking through some of my movies for a second to kind of also give you like an answer, like if James Gunn can't direct some certain movies. Like,
that's okay, man. We got to move on anyways to the next topic.
I know, but like, but I would say, I mean, obviously, I know he's kind of busy with the MCU and everything, but I would love to see Destin Daniel Cretton direct one of these movies.
He's a good director too. I would totally be up for that.
Because look at that, like, just look at the bus scene in Shang-Chi.
Oh,
Tells you on
that's
everything.
such a great sequence.
You need a nap after that, bro. Seriously, it's so nauseating. I mean, it's not nauseating in a bad way. It's just like it makes you dizzy.
Yeah, I totally get it. Especially in the theater, it was a marvel. No pun intended. What are you guys' thoughts on Superman Legacy? Are you excited? Do you want James Gunn to direct it? Comment down below. Let us know all your thoughts and opinions. And without further ado, let's see what you guys are saying about this.
All right, bring it.
Showmonger says, just 2 years, 5 months, and 11 days until we get Superman Legacy. One thing I thought was really interesting that James Gunn said, again, a quote I forgot to pull. He said that they don't want to be strict to their release dates. If a movie's not ready, they're not just going to try and hit the release date. They want to get it right. I thought that was really interesting of him to say.
Yeah, because again, I'm not trying to get too off topic here, but like sometimes like you watch a movie and you can tell it's not finished because they just rush through production. Like,
Fantastic.
I'm not thinking of like anything like superhero related. Like, I'd say something like Jeepers Creepers 3. Like, when you look at that movie does not feel finished. Like, it just felt like because of Victor Salva's controversy, it was just rushed.
I've never seen it, so I don't have an opinion.
well, and obviously because I'm the horror guy, I can basically kind of tell you when it feels rushed. So
fair enough, man.
And also, Jeepers Creepers Reborn felt really rushed because they were in green screen the whole time. Good God!
If you want to hear more about this, guys, go check out Luke Ponto's rant he just did on
Jeepers Creepers Reborn. Yeah, the worst film ever made.
Tyler Calvert. I'll be more excited depending on who he casts as Superman. Yeah, get your fan castings out now. I mean, I can't fan cast. I suck in general at fan casting, but until we find out what age they're really aiming for with this Superman, because I've heard like some people think it's mid-20s, some people think it's mid-30s. I don't know, man. I can't think of someone who. Do you have any fan castings for a Superman?
I'm looking so I can try to give you an answer here, like, because there's so many freaking cast members that could like possibly just pop out of my head. You know what I'm saying?
Let's do Nick Cage. Fix that wrong. he was supposed to be Superman in the 90s, anyways. Let him have it.
Like, even though he's played a serial killer before, I would like to, if they were gonna try to like do like an older Superman. Like, again, I know they're not going to do that, but it's future preference if they decide to do that. I would like to see Michael C. Hall playing as Superman.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Fans of something.
He's a good actor outside of Dexter. He's a really good actor.
Fans of something. Oh, wait, one other question. Did they announce anything new for Joker 2? Just that it's not taking place in the DCU and it's going to be an Elseworlds thing. Other than that, I didn't see anything.
Yeah, you're lucky for that. So.
Chillmonger. I agree with Luke about jump cuts. All WWE fans hate producer Kevin Dunn. Wow, those are two things I know nothing about. WWE and who the heck is Kevin Dunn?
Yeah, you'd wish that Zach Goller was here because he'd be helping you with all that knowledge.
Probably go on a big rant. I wouldn't be surprised if he just popped in the chat right now just to rant about it.
Yeah, but to kind of play into Chillmonger's comment, because have you seen Resident Evil: The Final Chapter?
I haven't seen any of the Resident Evils.
Okay, well, I'd say 1 through 4 are worth watching as like guilty pleasure fun.
All right.
But 6 is the most nauseating film to look at, like, because a lot of the action sequences are just complete jump cuts, like when Alice is like firing a gun at a monster, it's just like, what do we do here? Like, it's just like that, and you're like, I need to see what's going on here. Like, it's just so nauseating. And then you look at a movie like like the Suicide Squad, and you have much better shot action, and you can actually see from clear as day what's going on.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen any of those movies, but
just skip 5 and 6.
All right, man. Aaron Austin, I'm not interested at all. Really, of a Superman movie, not interested at all. But I'm also not going to hate on Superman. I only hope they do the character justice. You get it? You get it?
Yeah.
That
Whatever.
was awful. What the heck was I even doing? Yeah, that didn't work out. Honestly, ooh, my throat's going a little bit.
Take a drink to relieve the pain there, man.
Thanks. Honestly, yeah, like I said, I'm not the biggest Superman fan either, but I enjoy the Superman film. And
unless you're talking about Superman 4.
What? That's the best one.
No, it's
I think we should throw all of our nuclear weapons into the sun. I think it's a brilliant idea. What could go wrong?
But think about this in real life, though. I mean, I'm not an astronomer or anything like that. But think about this. Like, would launching every nuclear weapon into the sun be a good idea? No. You could honestly cause like extreme global warming to possibly happen.
Yeah, probably. You know what I always wondered about Superman 4?
What?
Why didn't he just take Nuclear Man and hide him in the dark basement?
Good idea, but you want to know something that I noticed during that fight scene when Superman tricks Nuclear Man into going into an elevator to drop him off on the moon.
On the moon, he drops him off on the moon.
Not just that, but you want to know something I noticed in the background?
The green screen.
Not just that, it's curtains, black curtains.
Yes, that's right. It's
black curtains, and it's like, man, you really gotta love the space curtains the moon has. That is okay. There you can tell that's bad green screen. Like,
yeah, that was awful. We got to move on though. We got to keep going with these.
I'm sorry. It's just sometimes we just go off on tangents.
Yeah, I know, right? We're a dangerous duo to get together. Chillmonger, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet felt unfinished. Is that a video game?
I think you might be talking about it. Yeah, I think it's a video game. But I mean, if we ever go off on tangents, just because that's just what we do.
Fans of something. Universal used the phrase "gods and monsters" before with the Dark Universe. Welcome to a world of gods and monsters. That went over well for them. Yeah, that's probably one of the biggest blunders.
I think I know what he's talking about, actually.
Yeah, it's the Dark Universe when they put out The Mummy with Tom Cruise. They put out that photo of all the cast of their upcoming movies, and then The Mummy bombed, and all those movies didn't.
Well, not just that. It didn't just bomb. Like the reception that the film received. That's the reason why it caused it to fall on its face and kill the universe before it even started.
Yeah, it's like one of the biggest blunders in the past decade of.
And I liked it, honestly. I liked The Mummy. Like, it's fine. Like, I
never saw it. Never got around to seeing it.
It was fine, but the biggest problem is like you're taking Universal monsters and you're making action movies out of them. Something like The Invisible Man, like Lee Winnell comes along and says, "Dude, I'm gonna make an Invisible Man movie, and this is how you do it."
That was a good movie. Aaron Austin. That's most AAA games these days. I'm sorry, I'm not quite sure what we're referring to.
I think he's talking about Pokemon Scarlet thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that would.
Or is it like is it the jump cuts or something like that? Austin, clarify for us, man.
Yeah, we might have missed it. Fans of something. I think Dwayne Johnson would be a phenomenal Superman, followed by the crickets.
Is Eddie Dwayne Johnson's agent by chance?
Aaron Austin also suggests Nicolas Cage.
Nah, I think you guys are honestly missing the point here.
All right,
Nicolas Cage would be. I know what they're meaning though, because of Nicolas Cage, because of that John Schnepp movie, The Death of Superman Lives.
Yeah,
what happened?
He was supposed to play it in the 90s.
But then that's why I said I would come up with if they were doing an older Superman, something like Michael C. Hall would work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, they're gonna keep him young. But let's move on. Let's move on to the next movie.
Yeah, just ideas, some food for thought.
Yeah. You wanna know a movie or a comic book property that I know absolutely nothing about, that I heard about for the first time yesterday, but was totally nope. But was totally, as soon as I heard it, James Gunn written all over it.
What's that?
The Authority. The
Very
Authority
good.
was announced. The Authority are a group of superheroes who think the world is broken and they want to fix it by any means necessary. I think it's a very different look at superheroes. So the minute that James Gunn said the
Okay,
Authority,
so
I
but
was like,
yeah,
who the heck is the Authority?
when you pointed out the Authority, I have the notes of the characters in my my iPad. So
Perfect. I have a couple more quotes that will explain a little bit
yeah, go
more
ahead.
about the Authority. So let's just go through these first and then we'll get to your notes.
Okay.
All right. So from Deadline, he further explained the Authority because this is the movie that comes right after the heels of Superman Legacy. There's great Wildstorm characters that were popular for a long time, and we are incorporating them into the DCU, says Gunn. He loves the property because it's a mix of anti-heroes who take matters into their own hands despite what governments advise. A basic story is being written out. The Authority was created after Stormwatch, a planetary defense force against aliens, was destroyed. The former member of that group, Jenny Sparks, created the Authority with her Stormwatch. Black teammates Swift and Jack Hawksmoor. The team includes the engineer Jerome Thorndike, Apollo, and Midnighter. One of our strategies is that we take our diamond characters, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and we use that to help prop up other characters that people don't know. Like what happened with Guardians of the Galaxy in some way. Like taking teams like the Authority, which is I know is just a spectacular idea for a film that is a completely different take on superheroes because it's really connected to Superman. It's about to use those well-known properties to help lead into lesser-known properties, says Gunn. That comes to us from Deadline. So that's really interesting. I like that idea of
Yeah.
using these well-known, Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman kind of superheroes to prop up the lesser known because we know that James Gunn loves his misfits.
Yeah, because again, he did that with Guardians and Suicide Squad. Like, and you know how good he is at doing that.
Right, absolutely. And it's cool, like he kind of explains it makes a little bit more sense as to why this would be coming off of Superman having to deal with that what did he say again? I can't remember exactly what it was. It was a defense force against aliens being destroyed. Superman being an alien that might play into that. The
Maybe.
fact he says like point blank, it's connected because it's really connected to Superman. So I'm really curious. The more I learn about this project, this could definitely grow in my excitement. For right now, because I'm so unaware of what this is, I'm not too excited for this. But because it's a James Gunn passion project, I gotta believe he's gonna direct this. I gotta believe he's gonna direct this, and he'll probably bring the Suicide Squad flavor to it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
What do you think? You said you had notes. Do you have anything
Well,
more
it's
to add?
basically it's mostly for the characters that they mentioned here.
All right, go for it.
So Jenny Sparks is the group's founder and leader, the original leader of the Authority, and she's kind of known as the spirit of the 20th century.
Okay.
Apollo, known as the sun god. Midnighter is his real name is Lucas Trent. Is the Nightspringer of War. I'm just kind of reading you like what I found this all on Wikipedia, so don't
Yeah, no.
if anybody's gonna try to correct me here, this is what I found. So just to be fair, the doctor is Jerwin Thorndike, known as the shaman. What the heck?
I don't know, man. I just heard about this yesterday.
Yep. The second engineer is Angela Spica, known as the Maker. Jack Hawksmoor, the God of Cities, leader of the Authority from 2000 to 2005, and again from 2008 to 2010. So I'm guessing this is in the comics realm, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
So, Swift, Shenli Min, the Winged Huntress, she's known as. And Jenny Quantum, the spirit of the 21st century, who was leader of the Authority from 2005 to 2008. So, and Rose Tattoo is the spirit of life, but formerly as the spirit of murder.
Oh, okay. That's the most intriguing character to me so far, just based on that.
And she's basically, she's seemingly capable of killing anyone, and she was a member of the Stormwatch.
Okay, that's what they mentioned was the Stormwatch. Okay, that fills in a little bit more information for me about what we can expect from this kind of movie.
Yeah. So, but like, I only had like 3 things that I took notes on.
No, that's good, man. That was good. Based on all that information, are you excited for this? I'm not
Yeah,
there
it's
yet, but I
interesting.
could get there.
Yeah, it's interesting to see that because again, like you said, James Gunn loves his misfits, and he's good at bringing lesser known characters to the big screen and having us care for these guys.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Which
and if he can do that with the Authority, I mean, if I didn't have that much respect for James Gunn already, I think I do now. Because if he brings those characters to the top of their A game and then everybody just talks about them, everybody's going to have so much more respect for James Gunn than they would have ever imagined.
yeah, I mean, I don't doubt James Gunn, especially when it comes to the comic book realm.
He knows what he's doing, man.
We'll have to wait and see what this is all about. But what do you guys think of this? Do you guys know about the Authority, or are you newbies like us? Comment down below. Let us know all your thoughts and opinions. And let's take a look at what you guys are saying. We're almost there, man. We got 3 more movies to go through.
Okay, we're almost done.
We're almost there. Not that I ever want this to end. Aaron Austin said the game. So that's what he was referring to with the AAA games. They're all releasing half-baked games. That sucks, man. I'm not a gamer, so I don't have to deal with that. But you poor people that like to play video games, like that sucks.
I mostly play retro video games, but sometimes I can play newer video games depending on what type of franchise it is. Because I'm a Mario gamer for the most part.
Nice. I like playing Mario. I like playing those kind of games, but I still don't play those very often.
Well, Mario and Donkey Kong, actually.
Jacob Hubbard is in here.
Hey,
welcome, Jacob. Thanks for being
what's
here,
up,
man.
Bro?
Just want to stop in and say hey to both of you. Don't worry, Zach. Next time, you beautiful man, you. Luke, one day gonna join a stream. Yeah, I reached out to Jacob. He wasn't able to make it tonight, but I really appreciate that, man.
Jacob, hey Jacob, hit me up whenever you're available, man. Want to get you on my channel one day.
Yeah, we'll get you on here one day too, Jacob. Thank you so much for jumping in here, and thanks for those kind words.
Yeah, always a good supporter, man.
Aaron Austin, is it bad that I'm more excited for Invincible than the new DCU films? Honestly, I'm excited for Invincible. That season 1 of Invincible was awesome. Like, I just kind of stumbled upon that show one night, and then it blew up the next day because everyone was watching it. But it was awesome.
Nice.
I loved it. Did you see Invincible? Did you get around to watching Invincible?
No,
dude, you gotta watch Invincible. I almost spoiled so much crap to you. I almost said so much stuff that I'm glad I didn't say.
Good thing you didn't do that because otherwise I would have left right now.
Dude, it's awesome. You gotta watch Invincible.
Okay, I mean, based off your recommendation, and when I watch it, and if I do a review, I'll give you a shout out for that.
Absolutely, man. Jason Entertainment. Well, welcome, Jason Entertainment. Thanks for being here tonight, man.
Jason.
Oh, Luke, this is for you, man. Can't wait for that Mario Brothers movie.
Let's go. Yes, sir. And wait, Zach, this is a question for you. Did you see the new I know we talked about this a couple nights ago. Did you see the new spot with the cat suit reveal?
Yes, it didn't mean anything to me, but the Donkey Kong voice was cool.
Yeah, it's because like I said, it's part of it. Half of it doesn't sound like Seth Rogen, and the other half of it does. The laugh definitely sounds like Seth Rogen, but the voice doesn't really sound like him. Because
the laugh was definitely him. The voice did sound like he was doing a little bit deeper.
Yeah, and I think the reason why they used the cat suit was because I mean, obviously I think they're kind of hinting it as a joke, but they had Cat Mario in one of the later Mario Kart games, if I'm not mistaken. So or maybe they had a cat suit in like Super Mario 3D Land or something like that. I don't know exactly. So, but if anyone wants to correct us on that, let us know.
Yeah, absolutely. Lance Jackson, what's up, Lance? Thanks for being here tonight, man. Hello. I'm just at home watching Fat Albert, and then I'm going to start Maleficent, and then probably Shrek 2. That is quite the double feature. Is that Fat Albert with Kenan Thompson? Is that the live action movie?
Guilty pleasure, if any pleasure at all, man.
I loved that movie as a kid.
Yeah, but Fat Albert, oh god, Maleficent.
I mean, Fat Albert was so great. Like when he goes and sees Bill oh, sorry.
Don't talk.
I can't say his name. But no, Fat Albert was fun. Them coming out of the TV and stuff. I didn't like Maleficent. Funny. And Shrek 2 is a classic. Shrek 2 is awesome. One of the best sequels ever made.
I mean, yeah, no, it is one of the best sequels ever made. But you want a hot take?
Yeah.
I think Puss in Boots: The Last Wish is actually better than Shrek 2.
I'm not ready to say it yet. I loved Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, but I've loved Shrek
I
2
think
and it's been
it's
number one for so long.
it's like the best Shrek movie. Period. Like if I'm being honest with you, because it hit me like. Because whenever a film like that can hit me like right in the feels, that's when it could possibly like hit the number one spectrum. So
I totally don't take anything away from that because everything you're saying is true. For me though, it's like the shock value of how good it was might be buying into my recency bias. See, so
it's not
I'm
really
not
recent.
ready to say it's the best
Well,
yet.
then that'd be like saying like what's a good one? Like Black Panther: Wakanda Forever is like the best MCU movie. Like, which it's not.
Some people said that.
I
Which
mean,
it
I
could be
didn't
to
say
them.
that though. I didn't say that because I mean, it's
Right.
not my personal favorite. Even though I like adored it on a whole nother level.
All I'm saying is Shrek 2 has like 100 watches ahead of Puss in Boots, so I have to watch Puss in
But
Boots
I think it's
a couple more
because
times.
like Puss in Boots is my favorite character off of Shrek. That's kind of why.
That explains a little bit more, yeah. Fans of something. Wow, totally random, Lance Jackson, but you do you. I like it, man. That's a great fun little what was I gonna say? Watch. What
Yeah,
triple
but you
feature,
could
triple
a triple
feature, that's what I was
feature.
trying to say.
I've done that like let's see, because again I did a triple feature kind of last night. I did because again I did Jeepers Creepers Reborn, Marcel, and then Leprechaun 3. God, Leprechaun is so silly, bro.
Oh man, we can't go into that yet, man. We gotta we gotta move on.
We'll talk about that another day.
Absolutely. Jason Entertainment. It's so nice to be here, Zach. Keep up the good work. Oh, thank you so much, Jason. I really appreciate that. As for DC, I feel like there is some interesting concepts coming out, like Supergirl. We're gonna talk about Supergirl next. I can't wait to talk about Supergirl. So I can't wait to see how everything unfolds. Me too, man. It's looking bright. Aaron Austin says, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! You get canceled for saying such things. Shrek 2 is purity itself."
What is he meaning? Like because I said Puss in Boots in The Last Wish is better?
Yeah, he's just being a goof.
Get out of here. And plus the thing is, I've already seen that movie twice in theaters, so I kind of have that little bias.
Oh, Chillmonger puking up. Don't bring up that franchise around me. Hashtag recast T'Challa. Dude, that's
no, don't do that.
That's a whole other we can't do it.
Look,
we can't do it. Dude,
I know we can't do that, but I just have to say just one thing. That'd be disrespectful to Chadwick Boseman's legacy, though. That's what I'm saying. If they just recast him,
and you just lit up the chat,
like
everyone has an opinion.
I'm fine with Shuri. To be honest with you, I'm fine with it.
All right, we're gonna move on before we get into the debate.
Yeah, sorry if I cause any fire in the chat here.
No, I'm sure it's fine. All right, moving on to the next movie. There's so much freaking stuff they released, man. This one actually got me really excited. I didn't know how excited I could be for a Supergirl movie until I heard about this because they announced Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, which is actually a really recent comic book. It's only from 2020. But listen to this. This sounded really cool.
Right.
James Gunn. One of my favorite comic book series from last year was Tim King, I think is his name. I should take my logo down.
Hold on.
Here, one sec. I can just take my logo down.
Oh yeah, you can do that for a second, so I can read.
And then we can read his name.
Tom.
His name's Tom. Okay. Last year was Tom King's run on Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. And so we're going to turn that into a big science fiction epic film. Now, Superman is a guy who was sent to Earth and raised by loving parents, whereas Supergirl in this story, she's a character who was raised on a chunk of Krypton. She watched everyone around her perish in some terrible way, so she's a much jaded character. I'm there. Mm-hmm. I'm there. That sounds so interesting.
Yeah.
Just the contrast of how Superman and Supergirl are their upbringing and what that's done to make them the people that they are in this DCU. Supergirl sounds like a tragic story.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I definitely agree with that. It definitely sounds tragic.
Which also, I kind of have a little bit of a question because we know, I believe, what's her name? Who was cast in The Flash as Supergirl? Sasha, was it Sasha something? I can't remember what her name was.
I can look it up, but yeah,
Yeah,
you
I
can
can't
keep
remember what her
going
name
while,
was, but I
while I
remember
look it up.
basically they have a Supergirl cast in the Flash already, which her reaction to getting cast as Supergirl was super sweet. So I would hate for her to lose the job. But do you think that they're going to carry that Supergirl over and she's going to star in this Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow? I personally think it's going to be a completely new Supergirl. I think they're going to recast and this will be like completely started fresh.
It'd be interesting to see what they do with that, but again, I'm just trying to.
It's also going to be really you get that name for me, Luke. That'd be great. But
yeah, sorry if I'm taking a little bit. I'm just trying to find it.
That's okay. But it's going to be really interesting too to see how this Supergirl and this Superman play off of each other. Because her being this jaded character and Clark, as they're describing him as being this like kind, optimistic, full of joy guy, it's going to be really interesting to see their ideologies contrast and bump up against each other and the conflicts that are going to come from that.
Yeah, again, I'm sorry. It's just
that's okay. Before yesterday,
Sasha Calais or something like that.
Calais, Sasha Calais. We'll just say Sasha Calais.
Here, let me. I'm zooming in right here. I don't know if you can read that.
Sasha Kale? Yeah, something like that. Anyways, we know it's
something
Sasha.
like that. But
do you think personally? Do you think it's going to be Sasha in this role?
Maybe, but again, it kind of depends on what they decide to do. Like if they decide to keep her in, or if they decide to do like a recast. Like you don't know, like what the execs are going to do, or like what the casting director's going to do.
Right, I agree with that.
So,
I think they're going to recast. I don't think it'll be her.
Maybe, but as long as because I know I recommended this to you, but if they adapt this new Supergirl movie like they did Supergirl and Superman Batman Apocalypse, good. If they can just do that one thing, just one thing like that, you're good.
Well, what do you guys think of this? What do you guys think of Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow? Big epic science fiction film coming from DC Studios. Comment down below. Let us know all your thoughts and opinions, guys. And let's take a look at what you guys are saying. We have 2 more movies to go through, and we've been going for almost 2 hours. Holy moly. For all you guys that have been here for 2 hours, you could have been watching Shrek 2 or Fat Albert like Lance here is watching, but you guys stuck around for 2 hours. I can't believe that. Thank you guys so much.
And I can't believe I'm even sticking around for 2 hours, but you know what? I'm up for it.
All right, man. Sasha. Oh, he gave us the name Sasha Calais. We should have just gone into there. Thanks, man.
Sasha Calais.
Thanks,
yeah, but it's all right.
All right, no other comments are there, so we're just gonna move on while we can because we're gonna go through these next 2 pretty fast. So the last 2 movies. Let's do this. This one I got really excited about. This one was really cool because James Gunn on Twitter, he's been talking about teasing, I should say, what we could have expected from this DCU slate. And one of the things he said was that Superman and Batman were priorities. Now, we knew he was writing a Superman movie, but we didn't really know or have any information on his Batman. But now we do, because Batman in a DCU is coming with Brave and the Bold. Here's what they had to say about this. Brave and the Bold is the story of Batman and his actual son, Damian Wayne. This is based on Grant Morrison's great comic book run. Damian Wayne is my favorite Robin. He's a little assassin who Batman tries to get in line. And so this is the story of the 2 of them and the beginning of sort of the Bat family in the DCU. He also went on to elaborate on Deadline. The movie will feature Batman and his son, Damian Wayne, as Robin, a little son of a bee, Bill's gun. Assassin murderer who Batman takes on, who is Batman's actual son that he doesn't know exists for the first 8 to 10 years of his life. It's a strange father and son story about the 2 of them, and based on Grant Morrison's run of Batman, added Saffron. This is going to feature other members of the extended Bat family, just because we feel like they've been left out of the Batman stories in the theater for far too long. Oh, Luke, you're just on audio now? Or did you leave? I don't know where you went. Anyways, I love this. I love this idea so much because not only does this Brave and the Bold differentiate, I can't speak tonight, this Batman in the DCU from Robert Pattinson's The Batman so well, but this is also something that we haven't gotten to see from a Batman and in a Batman movie. I mean, you could argue in 1997 we saw it in Batman and Robin, but not very well. Luke, I was just saying that I love the approach that they're going with this. I love that they're essentially making this a father and son story with Batman. That's an angle of Batman that we've yet to explore in the theatrical medium.
We might have explored that like in animated form, but we never explored that like in like theatrical form, like you said.
It's also really cool that they're going to be bringing in the Bat family, that they're going to be introducing us to Robins, and they're going to be imagine Batgirl will be in this too eventually. They're going for an older Batman, which is interesting. I wonder how that's going to play with the younger Superman. Do you know anything about Damian Wayne or any of the Bat family?
Nothing really comes to my attention on that, but like even if I try to think about it, my memory is just going to go like.
I know that Jason Todd has a really tragic end with the Joker. I wonder if Jason Todd will already be gone, or I think it's Jason Todd. I wonder if he'll already be. I'll get corrected like insanely.
Yeah, Jason Todd, like the
I think it's
Red
Jason
Hood, right?
I wonder if he'll be gone by the time this movie starts, or if we're gonna get to see Jason Todd's demise play out in live action, because that would be a tragic scene if they built up a relationship.
Yeah, but I think I know what you're talking about with Jason Todd. He's the Red Hood.
Yes, the Red Hood. I've actually seen that animated film.
There you go. See,
the Joker beating him with a lead pipe in the cabin, and then it blows up. Kind of scarred me.
Yikes!
It was intense. But I really love this. I love this because it's a different Batman. It's a different take on. We've had so many Batman films. And the fact that they can still find a different angle and something fresh and new to do with it and totally make it completely different from what Robert Pattinson and Matt Reeves are doing with the Batman. I think this is a brilliant move. I think this is a brilliant direction to take this. What do you think of Batman Brave and the Bold?
I mean, again, some of these like quote I saw, it's very intriguing with what they're going to do, bringing in the Bat family. Like, I love what they're going to do, and I hope they kind of introduce us. And obviously, they're going to do that, but they kind of give us some reasons like to get behind these characters that they're going to be introducing into this new film, and then that way I can actually know these characters and actually understand like their type of personality.
Yeah,
and like what they were like.
Execution is key, but I believe in them, man. I'm excited for this. This is one of the more exciting Batman projects I've been excited for in a while.
Yeah,
of all the things here that they released, Batman Brave and the Bold was my most excited one. That one made me go, "Whoa, that's awesome!" What do you guys think of this? What do you guys think of Batman Brave and the Bold coming to live action in theaters very soon from James Gunn and DC? Comment down below. Let us know all your thoughts and opinions. And you know what? Let's just crank out the last movie before we go to comments and questions. Let's just crank out the last movie because this is the last thing that James Gunn announced, and this was probably the one I've heard of, but was never expecting them to do. And that was Swamp Thing. Here's what they had to say about Swamp Thing. Swamp Thing is the last thing that we're going to talk about. A very dark horror story in the origins of the monster who is Swamp Thing. And although it's totally outside of the rest of the DCU, it'll still feed into the rest of the stories. That comes from James Gunn. Luke, tell us about Swamp Thing.
So basically, he's a humanoid plant elemental creature. So basically, like he has several incarnations in regards to his plant and humanoid form. So I mean, I can't again, this is just what I found. So I'm not really like, if I'm keeping it as vague as possible, just don't at me, because I'm explaining it as best as I can. Like he's basically a monster plant, basically.
All right. What do you think of them taking a horror route with this? Because I know you're a horror guy, so I'm sure that gets you pretty excited.
Well, I've seen if you're thinking of Swamp Thing, I've seen the 1982 Wes Craven movie called Swamp Thing, but it's a complete. I feel like it's a completely different thing. than it is like what they're going to try to do. That James Gunn pointed about. I kind of feel like if they have it like as a unique type of creature feature, basically with Swamp Thing, then I feel like you could have a good movie out of it. But just again, you have to be smart about it and not just be all over the place with it and just making it so convoluted. Because if you make it so convoluted, we're not going to understand like what you're trying to say or what you're trying to appeal to. So
nice.
But I'm excited to see what they decide to do. Just don't make it cheesy. That's all I gotta say. Don't make it cheesy.
One of the things I saw today on Twitter that was rumored going around is James Mangold might direct this. Because James Mangold tweeted out a picture of Swamp Thing from a comic book panel. So everyone's starting to think that James Mangold might be directing the Swamp Thing. Do you think that James Mangold would be a good choice to direct a Swamp Thing movie?
He should, because he's never directed a horror movie.
Really?
And, wait, hold on. Again, take a little intermission.
No, all I know about James Mangold from like he did Ford versus Ferrari, and he did Logan, obviously.
He did the Wolverine. He did Walk the Line.
Yuma or something like that. 310 to Yuma. Didn't he do that?
Yeah, he did 310 to Yuma, but that's a Western movie.
Right. So horror would be new for him.
Wait, hold on. Just taking a look here. But let's see. He also Identity is more like a thriller.
Okay.
But it's whatever. He also did a romantic movie called Kate and Leopold, a thriller called Girl Interrupted, Night and Day, which is an action movie with Tom Cruise and Cameron Diaz. And he also did this very underrated drama called Copland with Sylvester Stallone, Ray Liotta, and Robert De Niro.
So he has experience doing action and thriller. So I have no reason to doubt that. I think he could do a Swamp Thing, from what you were telling me.
Yeah, and yeah, like I said, and and with a lot of his films, he can take it into such like dark subject matter, like even with some of the superhero stuff that he did, like with Logan, like he kind of took it in a much more darker route, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And same thing with the Wolverine. Even though the Wolverine's played a lot more safe than Logan, it feels like it's taken like some dark subject matter, and kind of the same thing with Copland, because with Copland it goes into police corruption. So
very good point. Yeah, he can do darker themed things then, and Swamp Thing would probably be a darker themed thing if it's going to be horror, right?
Yeah, obviously it would be. But obviously you can't be like what Wes Craven did back in 1982 with that cheesy movie. Like you have to be able to take it more seriously and actually know this is the Swamp Thing movie that we've been wanting.
Like, execution is key. What do you guys think of this, guys? Swamp Thing. You excited? Are you like, who the heck is that? Like me? Comment down below. Let us know all your thoughts and opinions on Swamp Thing, and let's take a look at what you guys are saying.
And yeah, when I got that text from you, like about the Swamp Thing, I was like, well, good thing I have some notes.
I was like, yeah, I don't know who that is. Aaron Austin, Supergirl sounds a lot more interesting than a Superman reboot. If I had to go into a theater right now for Superman Legacy or Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, I'm going to Supergirl. That just sounds so intriguing to me. If that's executed as well as it sounds, that's going to be a great movie.
And again, as I said, if you execute it like Superman Batman Apocalypse, like they did with Supergirl in that movie, you have a good movie. So,
Jason Entertainment, I saw online that people have been bummed because they are skipping. They're skipping Tim Drake, Jason Todd, and specifically Dick Grayson. What do you guys think about this debate? What do I think about this debate? Well, did they officially say that they're skipping those guys? I guess maybe like in the comics, Damian Wayne comes after those guys. I would say the movies are the movies and the comics are the comics. Unless they've specifically said that they're not going to do those characters, I don't think there's anything to be upset about. And even if they aren't doing those characters,
it depends on what they're really thinking. Because obviously, again, it's what the internet does best, which is freaking spreading rumors, which I'm tired of at this point.
That's very true. But even like if they are skipping those, the movie's the movie, and the movie's gonna tell its story, and so you're just gonna have to trust the movie. And if you don't like the movie for that reason, then I guess that's that's your thing, man.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
I'm not gonna hate a movie because of that. Jacob Hubbard, I would love to see Zach Krager tackle Swamp Thing, or maybe Dan Trachtenberg. Did I say that name right?
Trachtenberg, yeah, the guy that
Trachtenberg.
directed 10 Cloverfield Lane and Prey.
Ooh, I love both those movies.
And Zach Krager, I think I know he's referring to the guy that directed last year's horror hit Barbarian.
I can't speak for that one, but I loved both 10 Cloverfield Lane and Prey. I'd be down for that. I'd be down for him directing that.
Yeah, and dude, he has such good direction. Like, especially with all of those action sequences in Prey. Oh,
Prey was
so
just
good.
It was so good.
And then somebody wants to come at me and say, "Oh, Prey was mediocre at best." I'm like, shut up.
All right, there's one more thing because we're over 2 hours. I know it's late for you. Usually after our topics, we go into comments and questions, but I think we're not gonna do that tonight just because it's so late for you, Luke. And we have gone over 2 hours. But there is one more thing I wanted to talk about because Deadline actually gave additional information about some of the guidelines and rules of the DCU for James Gunn and Peter Safran. So let's look at that for a real quick second. So here's what they had to say. Some rules that the duo will abide by in creating their universe. Anyone cast on the DC TV side as a character will also respectively play that character on the film side. So Booster Gold, whoever that ends up being on HBO Max, they're going to be Booster Gold in the movies. That's pretty cool.
Right.
No one actor will play two parts. Hence, Jason Momoa is Aquaman going forward, not Lobo. That's a big one because that's been huge speculation on the internet, is that Jason Momoa is leaving Aquaman after Aquaman 2 and he's going to play Lobo in the DCU now. They totally squashed that like a bug, which I find very fascinating. And I'm surprised no one's picking up, like no one else is really talking about that right now.
Right, yeah.
What does the thrifty, cost-cutting Warner Discovery CEO David Zaslav think of this plan? Will he go cheap on DC? Not according to Safran. Their investment in content creation is huge, says DC co-boss. There's no question we have the resources. We're going to put these scripts together, get our directors, and then discuss with Zaslav what the appropriate spend is on each of these. I have zero doubt that they will commit appropriate funds on each one, asserted the Conjuring franchise producer. Stakes are enormous, adds Safran. It was a brand in chaos, and it's an opportunity to build an extraordinary standalone studio with the best IP and the best stories in the world. And that comes from Deadline. Whew. There it is. That is the DCU slate announcement breakdown. We went heavy into that, man. We were really heavy into that. We don't have any comments and questions at the moment, so that's a pretty good place to end this, guys. I want to thank you guys so much for being here tonight, for sticking with us for over 2 hours and 13 minutes. That's incredible. I really appreciate you guys' time. It's a huge honor to have you here, as well as a huge honor to have Luke Ponto here tonight, dude. Thank you so much for joining me. I know it's pretty late where you are right now, so I really appreciate it.
It's all right, man, because I already know that it was going to be late anyway, but you know what, man? Like, sometimes I'm just like, screw it, I'll stay up late. Like,
well, I really appreciate it, man. So tell the folks where they can find you, man. What do you got coming up? Go ahead, gloat about yourself.
All right, so you guys can find me on Instagram at the Luke Ponto 3, where I post a lot about movies and everything, of course. Find me on Letterboxd, Luke Ponto, Serialized as well, Luke Ponto, and Twitter as well, Luke Ponto. Saturday, save the date, Zach also is going to be joining me and maybe some other people for Scream 3. So keep your eyes peeled for that. And other than that, just some normal reviews coming up. I'm planning on seeing Knock at the Cabin, and Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, Creed 3, John Wick 4, Scream 6, and Super Mario Bros. Of course. A lot to cover, and yeah, and I'm very excited for the future going forward. And again, thank you, Zach, so much for having me on, man. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. Love having you on. And yeah, there's so much coming out. That's crazy. Just you listen off all those movies. I'm like, this year is crazy.
Yeah.
We will take these last few people, and then we'll head out. So we got Chillmonger giving the peace sign. He's heading out. Well, have a good night, Chillmonger. Thank you for being here tonight, man.
Chillmonger.
Jason Entertainment. Honestly, I can't wait for this plan of DC. I might not be excited for every project, but I feel people want to jump quickly to conclusion without watching the product. I mean, yeah, some people do. Some, especially like some of the Snyder fans, are not on board yet. But you know what? I'm open-minded. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do.
Yeah, for sure.
And Jacob Hubbard says, "Good job, guys, Kings." Well, thank you, Jacob.
That's
you
what
so
I love
much
to hear,
for being
man.
Here. All right, guys. Before you go, I just want to quickly say we have a subscriber goal on this channel. We are wanting to hit 2,500 subscribers, 2,500 subscribers before the end of the year. If you have enjoyed the show, if you've enjoyed your time here, please consider hitting that subscribe button. It'll help us out a lot, guys. All right, guys. With that said, I've been Zach. He's been Luke. And I will see you guys next week. Same Zach time, same Zach channel.